Hi AJ, how are you doing?
Franklin, are you growing your hair?
Yes, I'm growing my hair.
Goodness me. So,
Yeah, but I don't know whether I told the story that when I was in York, I was going through the city. Did I haven't mentioned it?
is it the issue with the stairs and the short?
Yeah, I don't know whether I mentioned it in the last show, but listen, if I did, I'll have to mention it again now.
Yeah,
so I split my head open. And as you know, I'm a bald person by choice rather than challenged follically. So what I did decide was that, well, I'm not going to shave my head because you can't shave over a cracked skull. So I decided not to shave my head or my chin or my moustache. So now I'm beginning to look more like you.
Follically blessed. Okay, well, that's.
But I don't know whether it suits it. A couple of people have said I look younger.
I think the hair really makes it stand out as looking younger.
Right. Okay,
yeah. I don't know about the beard,
which makes me because it's grey, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it's sort of George Clooney-esque.
Yeah.
Well, I consider myself to be on a par with him at least. But I'll be pitching myself to. Listen, I think I'm gorgeous.
You're reaching for the stars there, Franklin, and that's okay. That's a positive thing to do. Yeah.
Confidence. Listen, you've just seen what's going on there before.
It's all kicking off in the kitchen.
It's all kicking off in the kitchen as we prepare for tomorrow night's race night at the Newborough Sports Club. So that we're looking really forward to that. As you can see, Rowena's dressing the cake.
She is.
I don't know whether that's the right terminology. But
she's full speed ahead. I think it's decorating the cake.
Stress levels now.
Peaked.
A massive height.
No, can understand
which
that.
you can understand. It's hard work. It's hard work preparing for it. The preparation for this has been going on for a few weeks now.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And it builds more momentum, obviously, the closer you get to the occasion.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's on Friday, isn't it? So
it's on tonight.
It is Friday. Yeah,
well, I know we're recording on Thursday night this week, but
it'll be tomorrow.
When it goes out, it will be Friday night.
Yes, it will. Yeah.
Listen, we might even get her speech. She might actually speak when she comes into the studio, not realising that she's getting recorded.
Special guest appearance.
From
everybody.
Yeah. So what have you been up to anyway, mate?
Not a lot this week, to be honest. I'm off work for a little bit. I'm not sure how many of you know, but I am a junior social worker by profession, and we've decided to strike.
Sorry, maybe you telling me that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my profession is on strike for a month. So I was on the picket lines on Tuesday and Thursday this week.
And where was the picket line?
It was at County Hall in Preston.
Oh, right.
Just by the train station. Yes.
And do you receive any sort of acknowledgement or change from the Reform Party?
Nobody from the Reform Party. However, we did get Michael Lawton in. Michael Lawton is a councillor. He's an independent sitting in Preston. He's originally from Scotland, but I think he's lived in Preston for the last 30 years. I can't remember the name of his party, but he did actually come out and said, look, we understand that the demands on you versus the pay that we're giving you is probably not equal, so you do have friends inside the council.
Explain that a little bit, AJ, then. I assume what you're referring to there is the fact that you're doing just as much work as social workers, but you're getting paid much less.
That's about correct. Yeah. The demand at the minute in social care is very high, and a lot of the work that would be normally set out for a social worker is actually being set out to social care support officers, which is my job. But we're not receiving.
Would you specialise in children or
no adults?
Adults,
yes. But this concerns my job role all across the industry, whether that's children's, adults, learning disability and autism, and also the hospitals as well.
Is there a general consensus of opinion that things have got a lot worse since the pandemic?
Yes. There's more demands being put on the entire social health and social care sectors, but with less funding, less wages, but more stress and more needs and demands. Yeah, so we're going on strike for better pay and better sort of working conditions.
Thank you, Rowena. Listen, we're in the middle of the recording, but say hello. You can say you're a special guest. You can say hello if you want.
Hello. Yeah. There we go.
I was just going to tell AJ that there's a vegetarian curry tomorrow night. And
tonight, for recording purposes, it's tonight.
Vegan and vegetarian curry and a gluten-free pasta dish, vegetable pasta dish. You've got two choices.
So you're selling it really well, love. But you do realise now you are now a superstar.
Special guest indeed. Thank you.
Yeah. So going back to what you were talking about there, I feel as though, it's a difficult one, but it's always been underestimated the amount of issues that young adults have got, particularly from the transition from mainstream school to specialists or further education.
Yeah,
has happened with Frank, because as you know, my son is autistic himself.
Yeah.
With a PDA profile.
Yeah.
So it's certainly not getting any easier, is it?
No, I don't think so. And I understand that the party that are now the majority party in the council have come in looking to make budgetary cuts where they can. Health and social care is and always has been under the spotlight for that, because we are the biggest spender of public funding and resources.
So that's from a sort of county perspective, but
yeah.
on a broader scheme, and comment on it if you want, but what do you think about the reforms in social care payments and PIPs and things like that?
So I can understand to a degree that why they've dropped the PA, and they've introduced a limit on how much a personal assistant can get paid, which is £15.85, and that is drawing knowledge and research all across the country. So that's how much we are limited now in paying a PA, which is fair to a degree. I mean, it does limit the freedoms that a direct payment was introduced for, but you've got to balance it out.
But in terms of the PIP,
because
they're trying to sort of push people out of the system.
Yeah, so in that respect, there's not an awful lot that I do get involved with in terms of disability funding like that. I can make referrals into people if they're not sure that they're on the right funding amount. But other than that, I don't tend to really get involved with that. And unfortunately, my knowledge doesn't quite extend too much into that realm.
The reason I mentioned it was because Carl Menace's Eaton, he's been quite vocal recently. He's been called in for an interview.
He's been asked to verify his disability, hasn't he?
Yeah, and it's like he said, he stated that you know he's got spina bifida. That's never going to get away.
He's also got an amputation, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, and he also said that it's not likely that his leg is ever going to grow back anytime soon. And they're his own words. And great on him for sort of mentioning it and explaining what's going on, because I feel as though the system should be there to help people rather than to catch them out.
Yeah.
And I think somebody said to me the other day, possibly it's because of all of these huge exercises he undertakes, you know, these challenges from John O'Groats to Land's End. And I recall a story, I think, I don't want to mention it in the show, but last week, but Tommy Smith, ex-Liverpool player.
Oh, he came on and took it.
Well, he came on at Anfield and took a penalty, absolutely dosed themselves up on painkillers and what have you, and then somebody from working pensions, whatever it's called these days, the DWP, had witnessed what had gone on, and then they suspended his payments. Eventually he did get them back, of course. But it just shows you that, you know, even if you try to attempt to be a little bit fitter on one day, you know, prepared to
you're prepared to kind of run that marathon mentally, not literally, with the DWP.
Yeah, it's annoying anyway. But
it's going to take us about 16 years to set the world to rights, Franklin. So should we just crack on with the show?
I think we should.
Let's do it.
Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly Football Show. I'm Frank Hughes, the chairman of Skelmersdale United Football Club, and alongside me is my co-host and passionate press officer, AJ the Jet. Not that being involved with the football club is a prerequisite for hosting a football podcast, but it certainly helps. We are ready to dive headfirst into the vibrant world of non-league football in the Northwest, and we might even take a moment to discuss some of the bigger headlines in the sport. We'll explore life in the Northwest counties, bring you interviews with well-known faces in the league, and analyse how local teams are performing while making bold predictions for their upcoming matches. Nothing is off the limits here. We'll be diving into all kinds of topics, including complicated refereeing decisions and regulations that often leave fans perplexed. We want to hear from you too. This is your show, so don't hesitate to reach out with topics you want us to tackle. Let's get this conversation started and enjoy every single moment. We are speaking frankly. Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly Football Show. This is episode 14 of season 2, and a warm welcome to my co-host AJ.
Hello, Franklin. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in to Speaking Frankly Football Show today. We are well underway with the season domestically, and luckily for us down at this level, the football doesn't stop for the international break. So we still have club games coming thick and fast for the leagues and the cups. So we're going to do our normal Northwest Counties roundup. We're going to be checking in on Padiham. We're going to be looking at Glossop North End and the turning of the tide for Richard Brodie. Or we certainly hope it will. We're going to be looking at change at Litherland Remyca, as well as some little bits of news coming out of Alsager Town, Stalybridge Celtic, Clitheroe, Atherton Collieries, Southport and Marine, the usual favourites. We're going to look in as well on Radcliffe and Prescott Cables and Lower Breck, as well as Bury's decision to send out a weakened team against Runcorn Linnets. In the second part of the show, we're going to be interviewing Mr. Jamie Rainford, who is the new manager of Litherland Remyca, and then in the final part of the show we will be looking at all things Skelmersdale United, as well as our expert analysis and predictions for the fixtures ahead. Frankly,
nobody's ever actually called us out for using the terminology expert analysis.
I think you can be an expert on just about anything if you talk about it enough.
Listen, we've certainly conned them into that anyway.
Have you got your results from last week?
I haven't.
You put them on the shelf behind you. I watched you do it.
I know, but I've had to move it.
Why?
That's so much paperwork to get
I know, Franklin, but that's like losing your birth certificate.
Well, we'll have a look over that in the sort of last half of the show.
To be fair, a lot of the results actually are irrelevant because so many games were called off weekend just gone because of storm.
We were pretty matched, weren't we, really? In terms of predictions, I think we pretty much went the same way. Well, listen, we'll look at some of the surprises in the results. But talking about the Northwest Counties and the Premier Division, we'll look at our local neighbours. It's been a good week for Bearscore with back-to-back wins on Saturday and again on Tuesday night. They beat City of Liverpool in the landlord versus tenant derby 2-1. Disappointing gate though, just 79.
79 is a very low turnout for Bearscore, flying high at the top of Northwest Counties Division 1. Slap bang in the middle. Yeah, the weather I think may have played a part. I mean, Tuesday wasn't magnificent. I mean,
but we went for our brunch club, didn't we, in the morning?
We did.
And the sun started to crack the flags. I can't remember what the weather was like come 3 o'clock. Was it? Was it a little bit wet then? Was it?
I think it was just windy.
Windy, yeah.
I think it was just
rained
windy.
much,
No, I'm not.
So I expected a bumper gate with the postponements as well.
Well, yeah.
But given the fact that the rivalry between the two of them, but strange.
It was very strange, yeah. And they were one of the sort of few games going on that actually managed to to be played on that set. Was it the Saturday that they played?
Yeah, there was a few games.
Yeah, there was. To be fair, they got themselves into a decent position. Will Lawson scoring after 10 minutes, then an exchange of goals between Fidan Hajari for City Liverpool, and then Matt Hamilton scoring what proved to be the winner. So the game was virtually over and done with by the first half an hour. No goals after that. But yeah, a turnout of 79. I have a feeling that they
might have missed a number on there.
The weather, I doubt very much they had 790 in there. I mean, that's the entire population of Erskine, isn't it?
You just have to put it down to the weather then, wouldn't you? So listen, Padiham still leaders. They maintained their status at the top of the league, even though their game on Saturday against Remy was postponed. They managed to a 4-1 win against Longridge Town, though.
Yes, they did.
Was that midweek, was it?
It was a midweek game, yeah. It was, I think it was Tuesday. Was it Tuesday just gone?
Yeah, it was Tuesday night. They managed to beat Longridge
Town by 4-1.
Decent midweek crowd as well, 265, not bad at all.
Well, they are starting to draw in very big crowds up there at Padiham, I think, as the sort of the expectation for promotion.
What is that area known as? Is Padiham. It Pendle? Is it?
Oh no, it's East.
Council-wise,
it's East Lancashire. I mean, it's right next to sort of Bacup and Cone areas, isn't it? It's just like a sub area of Burnley. So
yeah, it's like Pendle, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I think it is. But it's probably Pendle or at worst kind of East Lancashire District Council, whatever it may be. Padiham have started to remind me a little bit of Lower Breck. So if you remember last season, Lower Breck's fitness and their ability to score goals really late in the game was kind of outstanding. Whereas Padiham, they clearly had an aerial threat. I was able to see some highlights of the game. They had a serious aerial threat going forward. In fact, their first goals were down to aerial attacks through Pa Jenkins after 16 minutes, and then Jakob Hebda scoring in the 73rd minute. But then they scored 2 goals in the 88th and the 91st minute to very much kind of put a bit of shine on the scoreline that probably reflects quite poorly on Longridge, because they went in at half time 1 apiece, and Longridge were actually pressing Padiham for the points. So that scoreline is a bit of a runaway on Padiham.
Yeah, well, like you say, they're proving to be strong in the latter halves of the game. So 17, 18 minutes in the last, sort of within the last 20 minutes of the game, they've broken them down really well.
They certainly have.
Sign of a good team, isn't it?
It is a sign of a good team. It's a very fit team as well. They were still running and still pressing well into the 80th and the 90th minutes. In fact, their third goal did come from as a result of high press against the Longridge defence, and forcing one of their defenders to make a clearance from his own byline. It didn't go very far, and Bradley Knox managed to steer one in for Padiham, and then Freddie Matchell slid in a fine finish for the fourth of the night. There, so they consolidate top of the league there, while Longridge are sitting. Is it 11th? They're sitting
15th. Yeah.
Is it 15th? Mm-hmm. Yes, 15th. Yeah, but so it's getting cosy up at the top of the table there. Padiham, the first team to break the 30-point mark with 10 wins from 12 games, closely followed by Ramsbottom.
It's a good haul, isn't it? They're proving to be not the greatest goal scorers in that top 4, but certainly not conceding a great deal either. So the defensively, they're looking really, really good.
Yeah.
A team that we often mention, our coverage concerns Atherton Allow. They beat AFC Liverpool at the weekend by 3-0. But up against a really, really strong Earlham team, they managed to lose by the same scoreline themselves in midweek. Earlham looking really good.
Yeah, we thought that this might be a bit of a case. So LR, again, able to see some highlights for their game against AFC. Liverpool, typical performance from a Davy Jones side. Defensively, very robust, very astute. But attack-wise, they're utilising their two fullbacks really, really well. George, God's sake. I'd written these down as well, so it made me look smarter. Chadwick and Brooks. That's it. Yeah. So they're the right back and the left back, and both of them had a hand in the goals that was scored. Gorgeous sort of 1-2 between two of the LR attackers, and then Owen Green lobs it over Ben Barnes in the AFC Liverpool goal, which is not an easy skill by any stretch of the imagination.
No, when he's 6'7".
Ben Barnes is about 60'7". Yeah. But
listen, I've reintroduced the form tables, by the way, as well, so you might notice there, just underneath the tables. So Prestwich Hayes are at the top. Believe it or not.
Oh, what a treat.
Yeah, it's still middle of the table, so it seems that whatever they've done in the last 6 games. So the last they played 12, and in the last 6 games they seem to have come to some kind of form, which is good news. That's
very ideal for Prestwich Hayes. It boosted them all the way up to 14th place, which is quite comfortable. Going back to Atherton LR. A very productive 3-0 win against AFC Liverpool. Goals from Owen Green, Tom Romano, and then Harvey Sample, giving them an excellent win. But the reverse scoreline, as you say, against Earlham, who we know to be an extremely good team, particularly at home, which I believe they were. Unfortunately, these kind of results are going to be. They're going to be part and parcel of new promotion from Atherton, aren't they? Very rare that they're on the end of a scoreline like this one, but I think it's going to be a bit more frequent than what we're used to in the Division 1 North. Nonetheless, though, they've done excellent.
Listen, they're very much finding their feet, and they're doing a really good job of it at the moment. So listen, they can only get stronger as they go on. But listen, let's talk about Glossop North End. It's really getting much harder for Richard Brodie. 3 consecutive defeats at home in the league.
Yes.
Put an enormous amount of pressure on him. I contacted him during the week. But looking at the calibre of competition he's had over the last 2 games, or 2 or 3 games, he's had to play Atherton LR, Chadderton and Stockport Town. Now, the last game was on Tuesday night against Stockport, and they were reduced to 10 men when Ethan Sutcliffe was sent off early in the second half. So I assume that had played a big part in the defeat. Brodie's post-match interview was quite explosive, bemoaning the standard of the referee, and he's got a point. As we all know, the standard is by and large appalling.
Yeah, he called it the most embarrassing, disastrous, shocking, humiliating, arrogant officiating he's ever seen in his life. I did watch it, and I did that. That's a very, very quotable piece from Richard Brodie, but you can understand exactly why. He'd made a couple of changes to his starting 11, and then they got off the mark in the greatest fashion when Sutcliffe himself actually scoring after 54 seconds to put them in the lead. Stockport Town did equalise towards the end of the first half. They'd started to kind of come back into the game. Brodie mentioned that they'd hit the crossbar twice before equalising. So those kind of things you can sort of push away, as being par for the course at this level. But then the second half completely turned it around, really. Unfortunately, that red card cost them very, very dearly. And his particular gripe is the fact that the referee doesn't actually appear to have seen the incident, which has caused the red card. Brodie asserts that the referee has listened to the noise being made by the Stockport Town players and played to their tune, which we are seeing and we are experiencing at our level and upwards.
Well, I think we'll talk about that when we talk about Skem at the end of the show, because we've been on the end of some poor decisions ourselves, haven't we?
I'm afraid so. Yeah. But Brodie has mentioned as well that his fans, and there were about 250 of them that turned up, so they are turning out en masse still to support him and the team.
And they're clapping the team off.
They clapped them off, yeah. It was a much improved performance there. And, seeing what the fans were writing on social media, you can see that they're very much behind Brodie. The majority are. And they can see and they can understand that his frustrations, but also his improvements. The team were improving, and they were showing signs of life against Stockport. And you've got to feel that they should have taken at least a point from that game.
Two of the teams that they played in the last 3 games are going to be there or thereabouts. Atherton, LR and Cheriton. Stockport Town are a difficult team to beat as well. But he said he's looking forward to playing away from home, which is surprising. He was told by one of the shareholders, I think it was, that in the last 93 home games and under 4 managers, the club has only managed 20 wins at home. So let's hope we can bring the points home from Litherland, and we'll talk a little bit more about that after this. But he's having a tough time on and off the pitch right now, so I wish him all the best.
We certainly
do. As well as liking the man, and I do really like the man. He works as hard as any manager I know. I'm probably, I'd say he's fairly misunderstood as well in some circles as well. But best of luck to Richard. He needs all the help and luck he can get at the moment.
Support. Yeah, I mean we've talked on this programme an awful lot about having a bit of a turn of fortune and just Lady Luck being on our side for once. It's really clear and obvious that Glossop need that now as much as anybody. So we any look at all, that'll come for Brodie sooner rather than later.
And I keep harping on about the fact that we need to get somebody on the show to discuss mental health within football, because there's a serious problem even at this level of football at the lower echelon. So if anybody is out there listening, we need to find somebody that'll come on the show and support this, because it's a bit of an epidemic at the moment.
It is, yeah.
But listen, moving on to Litherland Remyca, they've appointed Jamie Rainford as their new manager following Luke Denson's decision to step down. Yep. We'll be speaking to Jamie in the second part of the show, but just looking at Remy at the moment, they're just above Remy are AFC Liverpool.
Yes.
They got a great win over West Didsbury and Chult last week to keep themselves as close to the struggling Pack. God, that confused myself even then. But like we mentioned earlier, they lost 3-0 to LR at the weekend, and subsequently lost to Runcorn Town on penalties in the Liverpool Senior Cup. But we'll talk more about Remy.
It's part of the show.
In the second part of the show.
Absolutely.
Moving on to Division 1 North.
So Droylsden still top the North West Counties Division 1 North, despite drawing their last 2 games. Their most recent one was a 0-0 deadlock against MSB Woolton at the Butchers Arms. On the weekend, they managed to survive the onslaught from Storm Amy and played out a draw as well. A 3-3 draw on the Fylde Coast against Thornton Cleveleys, and they did well in that one as well, because Thornton Cleveleys, who we know had a reasonably strong start to the season, they kicked on to lead 3-1 just before the hour mark, when Droylsden's top scorer, Nelson Van, drew one drawn back, and then in the 96th minute, Cody Artwell snatching a point for the Bloods to keep them at the top of the table.
Yeah, so looking at the form table, Nelson there at the top with 6 consecutive wins, although my eyes might be blurred there, it looks like 7, but it's definitely 6.
Are you sure?
Yeah, AFC Blackpool are just beneath there, and they were struggling a little bit early doors, weren't they?
They were. AFC Blackpool did not have the greatest of starts to the season, particularly when you consider that 2 of their strongest and most influential players, Luke Heppel and Scott Sterling, left the club for pastures new. They're now very much up and running this season. For crying out loud, where's my...
Well, listen, whilst you're looking for that there, McGull have slipped into 13th place in the form table, but they're still second despite losing the last 2 games to Darwin and Ashton Town. They're pretty good at dishing out good wins, but they appear to be a little bit leaky in defence right now.
Well, I mean, if my eyes don't mistaken me, Franklin, they've actually lost their last 3.
They certainly
games
have,
in a row. Obviously,
4 in 6.
Last 4 in 6, which is not the consolidation of a positive start that Joey Burns would have wanted at McGull, particularly after a series of strong signings were indicated during the middle of the week, including Ruben Denton and Jamie Nicholson, both Skelmersdale United alumni. But no, they've had a rough. Their defence, particularly, has had a rough time of it, conceding 5 earlier on in the week against. Is it Darwin? They were against. They lost 5-2 to Darwin and 2-1 to Ashton Town, so they've got a little bit of catching up to do.
But listen, this is where a good manager comes into his own in terms of changing things, turning things around. And in Joey Burns, they've got a really good manager there, haven't they? So I'm pretty sure they'll turn things around. Yep. Listen, propping everybody else up is Ashton Athletic without a point in the last 6 games, and Daisy Hill with just 1 point in their last 6 are just above them
in the form table.
Steeton and Garstang and Bakeup just above them.
Steeton is a bit of an odd one because after that really strong start to the season, they've now dropped off with they got no win in their last 6 games with just 2 draws to kind of to complement that as well. So it's an unusual one from the Chevrons over in West Yorkshire. But Ashton Athletic are in real trouble at the minute. I know they had that great opening day win against Daisy Hill, but then after that it's just been loss after loss after loss for the boys in Brocksteeds Park.
It pretty much looks like what it was for us last season in that division there in terms of picking up points was really, really hard. And you've got 2 teams here now. We know there'll be one that'll pull away and somebody else will drop a little bit further down,
possibly
during the season. But they certainly looks as though that bottom 4 or 5 teams are going to be pretty much in a relegation battle for the best part of the season, unless they pull off something.
Yeah, and that's really bizarre. But, well, I mean, I say it's bizarre, but I mean, our own struggles were well documented going into the Division 1 North. But Cone and Squires Gate, 14th and 15th in the domestic table, although Cone have won their last 2 games, but Squires Gate have picked up the odd point or 3 here and there, but otherwise both of their forms are very inconsistent and not quite in time with the kind of performances that we thought a team relegated from the Premier Division might have been pulling together. I was sure that those 2 teams would be looking up ahead towards the Drorsdens and the Nelsons and trying and challenging them for promotion or playoffs, but it hasn't panned out that way for either of the 2 teams, really. Neither of them were in action over the weekend. Cone were due to play Daisy Hill, but that was postponed. And Squires Gate were due to host Holker Old Boys, but again it was postponed due to the weather. So those teams have to make a bit more out of what they've got. Otherwise, they could be in real bother. Does any of those teams look like they might be relegated from this league, or is it just a case of just trying to avoid finishing bottom?
I think Ashton Athletic definitely,
but actually relegated, because we talked about how much of a how many different ramifications there were for Skelmersdale United at the end of last season when
we ended up with 8 points, didn't we?
Ended up with 8 points, but a very low average points
Yeah, I think you've got to finish with around about 24, 25 points, haven't you, to be in the the best of the worst, if you like. But listen, I was looking at something a little bit sort of more obscure, or what you wouldn't have probably considered before. Yeah. But looking at the average amount of games that have been played in the Division 1 North now, you'd say it's around about 7-8 games. Yeah. Call it 8 games. Yeah. By this time last season, we played 17 games, and I know that's in all competitions, but at that point we'd have probably only played a couple of cup games.
Well, yeah,
so you're talking about 15. We played nearly double the amount of games at this juncture.
A lot of midweek games that were going on last season, weren't there? We were in action so much between July, and around about now, before the autumn and winter weather really started to kick in.
So I think when we look at the points tally there at the bottom now, in sort of 5-6 games, that could be totally different. You'll see more. You'll find out more. Well, the only thing you can say about this is, in our position last season, we were very much a new team.
Yeah, we were rebuilding again.
Rebuilding again is really difficult. A lot of these teams are not in a rebuild situation, albeit though I think Ashton Athletic losing 1 or 2 players here and there will be struggling.
They've lost 1 or 2
to find the replacements.
They certainly haven't lost that many players during the mid-season that they would call it a rebuild. I remember looking at their squad list from last season, and they brought in a few, don't get me wrong. They've brought back Declan Hill as well, and his goals were vital last season in them consolidating their middle of the table. But just this year, it just isn't there.
Where's Declan gone now?
No, he was at Barnton, and then he came back to Ashton Athletic after a couple of games, and he's still there.
Is he?
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he is.
He scored 2 against us, didn't he, last season?
He certainly did. One in each game.
Yeah. I think he scored. He scored a double in one of the games, in a cup game, I think it was.
Did we play it? I don't know if we played Ashton Athletic in a cup game. I mean, maybe you're right. Yeah. But nonetheless, they've only had 1 player leave so far, which was Jamie Nicholson, who's obviously gone to Mughal. But otherwise, they're not short of a number of players, really. I know, to a degree, it was very unfortunate that Cole Exley injured his ACL within the first game of the season. He was a real talent from Garstang last season and Barnoldswick Town as well, and I'm sure that his goals and his pace up front would have done plenty for them, but such is life. They haven't got him to call on. So at the minute, you can't really see, other than Emmanuel Ugochukwu and Deck Hill, you're not really sure where the goals are going to come from at this point.
No, like I say, it's difficult, really, isn't it? Ashton Athletic have played 6 and they've lost 6, and I think at this stage, last season, we'd got a couple of draws, hadn't we?
We had, yeah. So we played Garstang in about the 4th game, I think it was.
And Route 1 Rovers, wasn't it?
And then Route 1 Rovers the week after. We'd drawn both. So by that point, we did have 2 points on the board, and Garstang and Route 1 were sitting just above us. But Ashton, the results are going against them, but they're not being dealt thrashings exactly. No. So we're looking at these games. They lost 3-2 to FC St Helens, lost 4-1 to MSB Woolton, 2-0 to Nelson, 2-0 to Holker Old Boys. They're not 6-0, 7-0s.
No, listen, let's be honest about it. If you look at the for and against in any division, if you're not scoring goals, then you're not competitive enough to win games.
Not at that end of the table. No. So yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a struggle for Ashton. And weirdly enough, Daisy Hill aren't exactly firing on all cylinders either. Oddly enough, they haven't won a game this domestic season. They've just drawn 3, and so from that virtue, they are not bottom. But even then, Nicky Hunt with a slower start to life in the in the dugout than perhaps he would have envisaged there.
Yet again, scoring seems to be the problem there, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, they brought in a couple of big names from across the scope of the semi-professional pyramid, but just doesn't seem to be there.
Yeah, listen, we'll put Division 1 North to bed for now until we talk about the fixtures at the weekend. So moving on to Division 1 South.
Yeah. So the South Division fared much better weather-wise, presumably because it's based in Shropshire and not in Lancashire or anywhere.
In warmer climates.
In warmer climates, they're protected by Wales, them lot. So there was just the one postponement in the league. Leaders Runcorn Town were celebrating after running out 5-1 winners at home to Foley Mere, with Matty Vickers, Tom Ruffer and Connor Spears getting on the score sheet for the runaway leaders of the division. Telford Town lost 1-0 against Eccleshall, and Stockport Georgians beat Sandbach United 4-0 to move up to third. Barnton are fourth after a 3-0 win at Shawbury United. Stafford Town are fifth after a 3-3 draw at Dan Dawson's Market Drayton Town, with Town scoring 3 minutes into stoppage time to seize a point away from the finalists from multiple competitions and playoffs last season. Alsager Town had the biggest win of the day, with Daniel Guyver scoring a hat-trick in a 6-0 win at Wolverhampton Sporting Community. Alscott Heath came from behind to beat Hormond, whilst New Mills scored a 95th minute leveller to draw at home to Camel Laird. They're all about the late goals and the drama in the Southern Division, aren't they?
So Ashville versus Cheadle Heath Nomads was the only postponement in that division. But talking about going back to Alsager Town, 17-year-old Daniel Guyver scored a hat-trick against Wolverhampton Sporting Community at the weekend. Sporting remain at the bottom of the league, with Hormond just above them, but quite a feat by a 17-year-old.
Very much a feat by a 17-year-old. I think he'd come off the bench at half time and made an immediate impact, scoring
even more amazing.
2 minutes into the second half when Alsager were already 2-0 up, and then followed that up with a goal in the 75th minute and a goal in the 82nd minute in front of a very sorry crowd at the at Sporting Community. Just 15 turned out to watch the home team get summarily beaten by a very strong Alsager Town. Do you think that that's an issue in the Wolverhampton area, that there's more dilution down at our level, that teams like Wolverhampton Sporting Community just aren't able to pick up personnel and fans to weather the competition?
Well, we've talked about it quite often on the show, haven't we, about the sort of diluted feel that a lot of clubs have. There's just a plethora of teams in those areas, so there's that much choice. Did you say to me that within so many yards there was so many different football clubs around that Wolverhampton area? We discussed it last season.
We did. We did. I can't remember if it was Wolverhampton. I think it was Liverpool, wasn't it? So we
were talking about sort of in that Staffordshire area, weren't we? But I think the point that we were making at the time is we were talking about Bedford. I think, weren't we? We were talking about the fact that the biggest club around them is like so many miles.
It's in Luton, yeah.
Is Real Bedford in there?
Real Bedford are in there, yeah, absolutely, and Bedford Town, of course. But then you've got Luton Town, which is obviously the big professional club at that area. But still, 15. That's paltry. It's tiny, and we know that from experience that the Division 1 South don't get the most enormous gate to the best of times. I mean, we see it, big gates turning out for Stafford, Telford, and Sandbach, and maybe the weather may have had something to do with it. But Alscott Heath had 93, Eccleshall had 109, Market Drayton had 138. New Mills 61, Runcorn Town 88, Shawbury United 40, Stockport Georgians 70, and Wolverhampton Sporting Community with 15.
Makes you wonder whether they would fare better if they were in the Midlands League.
I would have thought so. I mean, you think Wolverhampton, you think the Midlands, you think the Black Country. It's all that kind of collective Midland area. And personally, I just don't.
There's no appeal for the Southern Division as there is in the North.
No, there isn't. There isn't any.
And it's a much stronger division, as we know.
It is a much stronger division, absolutely. But if you think about Wolverhampton Sporting Community travelling up to somewhere like Asheville, which is in Wallasey, which is in Merseyside, right on the waterline. Think how much of a mooch that is from Wolverhampton all the way up the M6, and then
I'd have to Google that one, to be fair, because there's some big journeys there, isn't there? Newmill's difficult one to get to.
Well, that's in Derbyshire, isn't it? Yeah. So they've got a difficulty wherever they travel, really. But you just have to wonder if is the Division 1 South just spread out over too much of an acreage that it possibly can't commit to keeping teams interested?
It's over dilution. There's no doubt about it.
Probably right.
Absolutely. I mean, you could arguably turn the two divisions, the Northern Premier League, the Northwest Counties Premier Division, and the Northwest Counties Division 1. Take the North out of it and put 24 teams in each division, as there is 24 in the Premier Division. So from the 24 there, what is it now? Is there 18?
18 in the North, 19 in the South.
Yeah. I think it's over diluted. But listen, those people that are putting all the hard work in there wouldn't agree with that, and you have to have a certain amount of sympathy for them, because if you're running a football club at that level, and it is a decent level, Northwest Counties, Step 6, and only 15 people are turning out, then it's a tough life.
It is a really tough life. Yeah, you kind of start to wonder, what's the point, particularly for Sporting Community, who've after 10 games have registered just 1 win and 9 losses, 9 goals scored, 40 conceded, which is easily the worst of both worlds in the division. So they were given a reprieve at the end of last season by the FA. They were in the same bracket as us. They were in the sort of the worst of the worst. Unfortunately, they came out reprieved. We didn't. But you have to wonder whether this is their year, unfortunately, because they've got an awful lot of work to do if they're going to get out of that.
And like I say, no disrespect to anybody in that Southern Division there. We've had to take the drop into the Liverpool County Premier League. We know how difficult it is to run a football club, and the disappointment of not being in the Northwest Counties on top of that as well has made it really, really difficult. So listen, best of luck to anybody trying their damnedest to survive at that level, because we've been there before. But listen, we'll turn to other news. Stalybridge Celtic, congratulations to John Mackin, manager of Stalybridge, who's been named September's Northern Premier League Step 4 Manager of the Month. Congratulations to him, that's well done.
Flawless run of games and 4 wins out of 4 has seen Celtic rocket up into the top 5 of the Northern Premier League, and having beaten Bury twice, once in the domestic league, once in the cup game, they're very much on a hiding to nothing other Celtic as they go into October in full confidence. Moving on to Clitheroe, following a really good run of form. They were battered 4-0 by a good Avro team away from home on Wednesday night. So they'll be looking to get back to winning ways when they entertain Vauxhall on Saturday. That's not going to be a particularly easy game either, but Clitheroe still sitting in 11th place, which is probably a little bit lower than they expected. It is a little bit lower than they expected. However,
played less games.
They have played less games than the majority of the teams above them. They did also go down to 10 men very early on against Avro as well, so it was always going to be a bit of an uphill battle from there. That being said, they did go in at half-time 4-0 down, correct, but they came out the second half with a very good defensive display behind them to keep that scoreline to 4-0. They were also without Leon Creech, one of their top scorers. He wasn't available for the squad against Avro, so they will hope to have him back for the weekend game against Vauxhall.
Atherton Collieries. Right, Michael Clegg fired rockets up the players' backsides following their exit from the FA Cup and the FA Trophy. We had him on the show the other week. They're now unbeaten in the last 6 games, following a 2-0 win over Nantwich Town on Monday night. They're now in 8th place in the Northern Premier League West Division. Not normally one for supporting a manager that has rant over his players or lack of form, as you know, but in this case it seems to have done some good.
Yeah, Clegg mentioned in that infamous interview post-Atherton LR game that some of the players would never play for Collieries again. So it seems to have proved, as the team have now gone unbeaten in the last 6 games, and once again a team in fine form heading into the autumn months.
Yeah, and good luck, and long may that continue for Cleggy.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we go to matters disappointing on the Mersey coast as Southport replaced Peterborough Sports at the bottom of the National League North after a 2-0 defeat at Spennymoor Town. Neil Dans having a very, very difficult period in his first management role for Southport. They play FC Halifax Town in the final qualifying round of the FA Cup this weekend at Hague Avenue. Halifax play 1 division higher in the National League Premier. A win for Port would be great financially for the club, but could most importantly kick their season onwards. That being said, their next league game is away at Oxford City, who are down towards the lower end of the National League North themselves, but it is going to be a long road and a long season for Southport unless they start picking up points and quickly.
How do you see that happening? The change, if it comes at all?
So, when we discussed the new takeover from Southport, they made it quite clear that they were going to be investing in young talent. We know from experience that young talent is no experience for old heads and experience, and it could very well be that Southport just haven't got those aged heads that they need to, keep cool and keep calm. I understand the Spennymoor game because Spennymoor are doing excellently at the minute. I think they're about 6th, 7th in the table at the minute. So there are some games that can be explained away as just simply a team being better than them on the day. But I think Dan's has to make a point of trying to get some aged heads in there to try and
because they're not getting battered, are they?
No, they're not getting battered at all.
So listen, David Cunningham and Kieran Malone took over from the Big Help group around about June, was it?
It was about June,
during pre-season, and they made no bones about the fact that it's going to be a difficult job. And I think we mentioned it last season. I think it's been a huge eye-opener for them, how they resurrect themselves from the situation that they're in. Like you say, they've got to bring maybe a few old heads in, and it's going to cost them a few bob more.
It is.
But they haven't got bottomless pockets.
No, we knew that straight from the start. So did the new owners. They made it very clear that they weren't just going to be throwing money into the club. I think they cleared the debts once they were aware. Cunningham and Malone trying to make it a sustainable business. But equally, they're trying to float and stabilise the club in the National League. We know that it's a competitive league, and I think the last few games have been a bit of a testament to that. But where really their only joy seems to be in the cup competitions, beating Radcliffe over two legs, beating Morpeth, and now facing FC Halifax Town, but losing in the domestic competitions to Worksop, Fylde, Scarborough Athletic, Leamington, as well as draw with South Shields. So it's
listen,
not
as you
happy
know,
times.
I've got a real soft spot for Southport, having worked for them for a very short period of time. And I look back, sort of in recent years when Liam Watson was in charge, and they had that right balance of, they weren't particularly going anywhere, but they had that right balance of moving players on and making money out of them, moving them higher up the non-league pyramid, if not into the Football League themselves. And that balance was good because it was, they managed to float as a result of Liam Watson's attitude towards the sort of the finances and realistic approach to being at a level where you understand. So I just hope they can. It looks pretty grim at the moment, but we know things can change dramatically. It's early doors still.
It's still 10 games, isn't it? And they've got another. How many is it? 46 that they play at that level.
All we know is through experience is that when that rot sets in, it's very, very difficult to get you out of it. Every decision goes against you. There's no doubt about it. It does as well, and you feel every bump and bruise along the way. So listen, best of luck to Southport, and hope Neil Dance can turn it around. But a really good win against Halifax and getting into the first round of the FA Cup will do their bank balance no harm whatsoever.
Absolutely. Maybe it starts to kick-start the season. It'll give them momentum against Oxford City. Oxford are just above Peterborough Sports, who are sort of sandwiching the two clubs at the minute. So that could be a real winnable game for Southport.
And a sort of early 6-pointer.
Could be an early 6-pointer. I mean, like you say, there are still 36 domestic games to go, so it's still early doors at the minute.
Moving on to Marine, they managed to pull off a shock win at Macclesfield, although it has to be said Josh Kay's 20th minute sending off might have
that did really help. I saw the tackle itself. It was a bit of a 50-50. They were both chasing the loose ball. Marine's player, I can't remember who it was, but he won the foot race, and Josh Kay just sort of slid in, 2-footed, studs up. I think the referee did make the right call. There was no hesitation in his decision making, and then Marine managed to, I think it was just a cheeky flick from a low cross into the far corner that gave them that 1-0 win. But quite an interesting stat coming out of that game. That was Marine's clean sheet was the first time that Macclesfield haven't scored at home in 44 games.
And I know we haven't mentioned
result.
it. No, we haven't mentioned it in the. And maybe we should sort of jump a little bit ahead to Macclesfield, but before we carry on. But what I was going to say is that because of that win, Marine have leapfrogged Macclesfield into 13th position. But it's got to be said, with only 13 points themselves, they're only 5 points off the bottom three, such as the competitive edge in the National League North. But Bobby Grant has been busy making changes, but still there's a fair bit of work to be done. Yeah,
but he knew that there was going to be. I mean, Marine had done exceptionally well in the last few seasons, managed to pull themselves away from relegation with that really fine run through January and February and March. And Grant is going to try and build on that, but it's still his first foray into management of a football team, much the same way that Neil Dans is. It's a bit of a tale of two cities, really, but Marine are just... They're just managing to pull out results here and there. They're not being spectacular about it, but they're just being diligent. And they are 13th at the minute, and they are only 5 points off the bottom three. But like you said, it is still really early days. And I think if we look back if we look at this Marine team in about 3 or 4 months' time, they'll be about 13th, 12th, 11th, something like that. Still, and I do genuinely think that Bobby Grant will just continue to consolidate this team.
And psychologically, 13th place, you're almost in the middle part of the table, so it won't do them any harm psychologically being there. No. Listen, Marine at home to Kersnashton on Saturday, so they'll be hoping to consolidate their position in the league with a win, which is doable, by the way.
It is. So Kersnashton are right above them. In the league, they are 12th to Marine's 13th. Both teams are not in a particularly great run of form. I see Marine put aside 3 straight defeats with a draw and then a win, so they're unbeaten in 2, whereas Curzon Ashton had a mixed bag of results, 2 defeats in their last 5, but also won their most previous game, which was a 2-1 win away at Oxford City. So could be anybody's game, really, over at Curzon. We'll just have to see. Yeah.
Listen, we're going to jump slightly ahead of schedule here in our script, but Macclesfield Town statement, we won't go right into the details of all of the statement, but sort of making it plain and simple, really. Rob Smethurst has decided to step down after basically resurrecting the club from the ashes.
Yeah. He has. So Robert Smethurst was a very much a leading light when Macclesfield FC folded and Macclesfield Town, the Phoenix club, came into being down at North West Counties level, and has seen their rise up through the ranks, up through the glorious days of the Robbie Savage era, and is now seeing his team try to stabilise themselves in the National League North. Well, Smethurst himself has decided to step down from all involvement in day-to-day activities at Macclesfield Town FC. He's decided to do this with the very best interests of the club at heart, and they, as the club, are fully understanding the rationale that has led Rob to make what has unquestionably been a very difficult decision on so many levels. They've said that without Rob Smethurst, there would be no Macclesfield Football Club, and certainly not the one we have all seen before us today.
It's worth noting he'll retain his shareholding, and as a collective, he will help the club as much as he can.
Yeah. He will, and I think he's going to try and make this as much of a smooth transition for the club as what he possibly can. He's obviously overseen the departure of Robbie Savage to Forest Green Rovers. I think he was part of the management team. What brought in the new manager, John Rooney, Wayne's brother. So,
do you read anything into this? Because it does feel to me very much that he lost a little bit of heart when Robbie Savage left. He was very disappointed by that, albeit he didn't want to throw his mate under the bus. No. He did seem to be extremely upset and disappointed by his departure.
Yeah, and I think they were very tight, weren't they? I mean, Smethurst brought Savage into the club. Savage brought his know-how and his name and some of his players into the club. They lived and breathed it together, and since Robbie's gone, he's admitted that he's struggled with Savage's departure, and he's had added pressures, but he just wants to do what's right for the club, and there's an evolution with the club that he feels he can't carry them through.
So are these added pressures because of his day-to-day, his own business interests off the field?
Yeah.
Or is there a sign there, and I'm only suggesting there's a sign there that we're looking at again now somebody to come in with deeper pockets to propel them, because they're struggling at the moment, aren't they?
Well, they are and they aren't. So they're in 14th position at the minute, and for a newly promoted team to go into the National League North, that isn't bad at all. It's quite encouraging.
Robbie took a couple of players with him, didn't he, as well?
He did, yeah.
Wouldn't have made life easy.
No, of course not. But they'll have been paid sort of relatively well for it. Unfortunately, Macclesfield were going to find that they are going to struggle in this league. That being said, they are above heavyweight teams. They've had better results than Chester and Darlington, both of whom are sitting below the Silkmen in the table. They've had 3 losses in the last 5 of Macclesfield. They've also managed to string a couple of positive results together. So at this stage, you just want to say that Rooney needs time. But now with Smethurst kind of having stood back from the club, you kind of have to wonder what is really going to be next for them, and whether it's going to be somebody with deep pockets or whether it's just going to be somebody to come in and just stabilise them.
Yeah, it's all about finding your natural level. I mean, some clubs...
We've talked about this, yeah.
Yeah, some clubs are sort of way above their stations in terms of the levels. And we'll talk about Lower Breck and the achievements of them in a minute. But listen, we'll park the bus on Macclesfield there and just wish them all the best. And of course to Rob Smethurst, he must be a little bit of a local hero for what he's done over the last 5 years.
I've no doubt about it at all. He was the man who came in and just consolidated all the debts of Macclesfield town when they were wound up, and has made this Macclesfield FC truly an amazing revival story in its own right.
Yeah, and he's certainly earned a rest now.
Yes.
So moving on to Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Go on.
Rio Clegg has won the Enterprise National League North September Player of the Month award for his outstanding contributions over recent weeks. So Bernard Morley and Anthony Johnson are doing a cracking job there right now. A 3-1 win over Alfreton Town at the weekend, moving them up to 6th place in the league. A difficult season following promotion to the National League North, but they seem to have found their feet. The job doesn't get any easier for them. They've got a very difficult away game to Kidderminster at the weekend.
Yeah, because they had that really difficult season last season. They were sort of flirting with relegation for a period of time, but both them and Marine managed to get themselves back out of the mire.
Yeah.
So listen, best of luck to them. They seem to be doing a really good job in finding the feet there.
They very much so. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they're thinking about promotion or playoffs at this point. We'll have to just ask them what their theory is, although I'm sure they'll play it down and just insist that they're taking it one game at a time. So Prescott Cables, and a huge congratulations to Peter Clark, who has appeared in football for the 1000th time. So he started out his career at Everton, and he had spells at Blackpool, Port Vale and Coventry before Blackpool signed him on a permanent deal. And he's played for a host of league clubs, including Southend, Huddersfield, Bury, Oldham and Tranmere. And now he signed for Prescott Cables at the beginning of the season at the age of 43, and made his 1000th appearance at home to Lancaster City in the FA Trophy, and suitably given a guard of honour as well. And even better than that, Cables beat Lancaster City by 2-0. A brilliant feat, that is. We talk about 1,000 games through in management. It's very rare that you find it as a player, though.
Yeah, and 750 appearances within the Football League as well. So
that's stunning.
Marvellous, isn't it? I mean, I think the only person sort of compares to that at the moment is the big lad from Vauxhall's.
Kevin Ellison. Yeah, he's a bit of a journeyman himself. At the age of 46, you can reasonably sure he's around about the 1,000 appearance mark himself. We don't talk about the Cables much, but they are doing really well in the Northern Premier League division, Premier League. They're sitting in 7th. They average around 700 fans to the gate, with only Hensford, FC United of Manchester, Stockton and Workington averaging better. It was a club who looked to have hit hard times a couple of seasons ago, controversially losing Steve Daly as their manager in the summer of 2024 for financial reasons. Dave Dempsey, Bursco's manager, replaced him, but lasted only 5 days when Graham Black completed a takeover of the club as new chairman and brought Daly back into the club. From a memorable point of view, leading up to the end of the 23-24 season, a 3rd place finish meant that Cables qualified for the playoffs for the first time since 2018. Victories over Bootle and City of Liverpool in front of capacity crowds at Valerie Park earned Prescott promotion to the Northern Premier League for the first time in 15 years.
Yeah, so Prescott are really doing well in the league, as we say, currently 7th. But they've got a difficult trip to Cleethorpes Town this weekend.
Yeah, that's never an easy place to go, is Cleethorpes. Very much a heavyweight of the Northern Premier League West.
I've been to Cleethorpes.
Oh, I've got family who've from Cleethorpes.
Well, I'll tell you the story about Cleethorpes. So it's James's 18th birthday or 16th. It was one or the other. Skem were playing. What was the name? It begins with a W. Willenhall, was it, something? I can't remember. Some team like that up close to Grimsby. They were playing them in the FA Vars, so we stayed in a hotel in Cleethorpes.
Okay.
Yeah, went out for a bite to eat during the night, and when we were on our way back to the hotel, a group of young lads started throwing Budweiser bottles at us, which only just missed us.
Right.
So,
not a great impression.
Yeah, useless piece of information, but not a great memory of being at Cleethorpes.
No, not at all. But hopefully Prescott have some better memories of it this weekend. So Cleethorpes currently sitting in 10th in the Northern Premier League West, having lost 3 and won 2 of their last 5 games. Ironically enough, Prescott are in 7th, having won less games than Cleethorpes, but appear to be something of a draw specialists, having drawn 7 games in total, 3 of which were in the last 5 games. So maybe if you're a betting man, and we're not endorsing betting because that's not us, you'd be minded for a draw between these two teams over on the East Yorkshire coast.
I think so, wouldn't you? Listen, moving on to the lower Breck. As we know, they made a great start to the season, but they've stumbled a little bit, just a little bit. Beaten in the league by Chasetown, who are in a top pole position in the league. And then they were knocked out of the FA Trophy at Stockton over the weekend. They'll be hoping to reverse that trend as they entertain Darlaston at the Anfield Sports and Community Centre tomorrow. To boost their forward line, they've re-signed Tom Crawlin, who scored 16 goals for them last season.
In the North West Counties Premier Division.
That's correct.
That's interesting because I know that they've signed.
I think he played, by the way, the other day as well.
Oh, really? Okay, so he's already.
I think he played against Stockton. Yeah.
He's already underway then, as far as things go. Yeah. So, Lower Breck have been usurped at top of the table by Chasetown and Staley-Bridge Celtic, albeit with a game in hand on the pair of them. But as you say, they are starting to. They're stumbling a little bit. So having lost against Chasetown, which that's no disgrace. That's no disgrace at all.
They seem to be doing really well.
Yeah, they do. Like I say, 6 wins from 9. But
can I just say something there? We talk about dilution in football.
Yes.
We played, when we were in the Northern Premier League, I think we played Chasetown in the... Oh, it is Northern Premier League? Yeah, it would have been... We played them in the... was it the FA Trophy? Okay. I can't remember. We played them. Anyway, and they weren't doing particularly well at the time, but they seem to have... sort of sprung out of nowhere, Chasetown.
Well, we say that about a lot of teams that just somehow manage to kind of ascend to the top of the table, without kind of much forewarning, really. And Chasetown just seem to be one of those teams at the minute. Nothing spectacular about their goals for. They've only scored 13 all season, but their goals against is just 4. That's by far and away the best of the division, with Bury having conceded 5, but then Avro on having conceded 9, and then all the other teams in double figures. So they are a team for which goals don't flow freely, either for or against. And in fact, they play Bury this weekend, so you'd sort of be minded to say that a scoreless draw would be on the cards, really. Well,
that's a good point to sort of move on to our controversial corner and Bury Football Club.
Yes.
We've already mentioned Macclesfield, which was part of our controversial corner. But Bury's decision to send a weakened team to Runcorn Linnets resulted in a 7-0 defeat. A lot has been said about it, mainly about the lack of respect pardon me, that Bury have shown towards the competition. But listen, if you want to take over there, because I'm about to cough again.
There you go. So, if we go back to the previous tie in the competition, Bury were forced into replaying their game against Wythenshawe Town due to fielding an ineligible player. They say this was due to a flawed system, which I agree with. They won the game 3-1. The FA then decided that the game should be replayed in full, but with very little notice, meaning that Bury were forced into fielding a weakened squad. So then in the next round, they play the Linnets, and due to the monsoon weather the other week, the game was abandoned at half-time and the game had to be replayed. Bury decided to field their under-23s and claimed that to remain competitive in the league, this was a logistical must. Controversially, we support the decision that's been made, or certainly you do. Yeah. And now, it sort of stinks of elitism, doesn't it? From a supporter's perspective.
Well, yeah, but from a business perspective, it makes sense. Bury's a huge club at this level, and their aim is to jettison themselves higher up the pyramid. They simply can't afford to make any mistakes if they're going to achieve their ambitions. So people won't like to hear it, particularly those on the receiving end of it. And I get that as well, but needs must, I think. I don't know what your stance is on it, AJ.
Well, I think you're probably right. So if you think about it at the top end of the professional game, there are teams who are sending out their under 21s and their bench riders, into the Carling Cup, and being beaten by
Carling Cup. It's Carabao Cup.
It was Carling Cup about 2006, wasn't it? Yeah. But they
Who even drinks Carling these days?
Oh God, if you might as well drink pea water.
Yeah.
But anyway, I hope we don't get sort of fine like Carling.
Well, we just sort of allege that it's not particularly to our taste. No, we don't allege. We say it's not particularly of our taste. That doesn't mean to say that other people with better taste buds than us would prefer Carling to... listen, I don't drink, so...
I'm going to say, what, blackcurrant soda?
Blackcurrant soda at the moment.
There you go.
6 months sober.
There you go. But the point that we're making is that it's well practiced at the top end of the professional game for teams to send out their bench riders and reserves and under 21s into cup competitions such as the Carling Carabao Cup. So Bury are just simply practicing it down at this level. I can understand that it does seem like it stinks of elitism, but from Bury's own perspective, they I know they have an obligation to field the strongest team that they possibly can. We're reasonable, but given that they've played Runcorn Linnets already, and the game's been called off due to the monsoon weather, they've got to think about the games that they're playing in the domestic league. They've just been promoted. They want to still climb higher and higher. That maybe it is a reasonable time for them to field players and give them a run out. So I can kind of understand it.
Yeah, and listen, we understand the other side of it. The flip side of it is if Skelmersdale United Football Club were hosting Bury in a cup competition and all of a sudden they announced that they were sending their under-23s, then we'd be worried that the gate would be considerably lower and our chances of making money off the back of Bury were limited by that. But, like I say, it'd be interesting to see what their thought process is on it, but it's a huge organisation, and I know, like in that original tie when they had to play Wythenshawe Town again, they were given really, really short notice in which to do that. So there's not so much a big fixture backlog at this stage, but it could be, and I think if you're 2 or 3 games behind, then you've really got to be ahead. You want to be ahead all the time, and I think I don't know whether it happened so much did it happen really when they were winning the North West Counties Premier League last season. They had big lock cup runs there, didn't they? They had a good run in the FA Cup.
They did, yeah. I think did they get to the 4th or 3rd qualifying round, something like that?
3rd qualifying round.
There you go. Yeah, and they'd made reasonable.
4th qualifying round, I think it was, and they didn't quite get any further. But that, when you look at the fact that they finished top, did they in the end, or was it Lower Breck? I can't remember now.
No, Bury finished top because they beat Burscough in front of about 8,000 fans.
But they had a backlog of fixtures, didn't they? And that must have been a really, really hard. They did well. They did exceptionally well. I mean, they went on some kind of run that's totally unbelievable, wasn't it?
They had 7 games in hand on Chadderton at one point and Ramsbottom at the top end of the table. So,
but you can't keep on doing that without getting the knock-on effect, can you?
Yeah, of course. So in that respect, and you don't want to risk injuries, do you? No. I mean, still at this level, they aren't professionals. They're still semi-pro. All their players have day-to-day jobs.
Yeah, listen.
Got to protect them.
Anyway, buried. Some of the bad news with a 1-0 win over Trafford on Tuesday night.
Yep.
and possibly they can silence the critics even more if they beat Chasetown at the weekend at the top of the division. Bury could go above them on goal difference with a win.
Everything to play for.
Yeah, listen, after all said and done anyway, the 7-0 defeat to Runcorn Linnets, they let themselves down a little bit. Something to do with setting off supporters, setting off pyrotechnics?
Yeah, so Linnets fans, and there are videos of this, Linnets fans celebrated that win by setting off a load of pyrotechnics, fireworks, smoke cartridges, all of that. And the club had this to say: another excellent performance on the field by Runcorn Linnets has again been tarnished by senseless acts involving a small minority of our supporters. Following instances at our last 2 games of pyrotechnics being released inside an opposition ground and now within our own stadium, we again remind fans of their obligation to behave responsibly and within the law when attending matches. FA regulations have recently been modified, with referees now being required to officially report any such incidents, even if the offending objects are not thrown onto the pitch. Any breach could result in the club being sanctioned. I get it. Pyrotechnics aren't the most amazing things to kind of set off at games. You know, they could fly out of hand, could hit somebody, could end up setting fire to somebody. Do you remember that incident at the AC Milan game when their goalkeeper got hit by a pyrotechnic and it burned his shoulder?
Oh, crikey.
Yeah, that was 2005. That was a while ago. But
there can be serious consequences to it, can't there?
Of course it can.
I think the problem is that we've got at this level is that, unlike the Premier League and the Football League, is we don't check people's bags on entry, do we?
No, we don't.
Maybe that's something that Runcorn Linnets might be doing, and certainly the opposition when Runcorn are travelling to other clubs, maybe they'll have a bigger presence, and it just to stop it from happening. The minute that they know that they're not going to get away with it, is the minute it stops.
Start to bring it down. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's difficult to police it at this level, and I think it's difficult to police it at any level of the semi-pro pyramid, because again, you're relying on volunteers to go through the appropriate search training, because you have to you have to be trained in a certain way to search people and bags as well. So it is a bit of a difficult process to follow.
Well, given that story there, when we were at York the other week, Rowena had done a bit of shopping before she went into the grounds. She had a backpack and she had a candle with a glass holder on it, and they weren't going to let her in at one stage unless she disposed of it.
Oh, no.
But once she explained a predicament, they managed to let her in. But yeah, it's a difficult one. But I think what supporters have got to realise is that they might be forced into extra stewarding costs, police involvement, and then of course fines, and maybe possibly playing behind closed doors. So the supporters need to think long and hard before they mess about with pyrotechnics, because Runcorn Linnets are on the up. They're having a relatively good season at the moment.
And the rest, I think they're sitting about 4th in Northern Premier League, something like that one. So anything like that could easily derail their finances, their season, a result, anything like that. It could have a serious knock-on effect, as well as your basic health and safety and the awareness and care of people around you. So just don't do it. Just leave it at home.
Yeah, just leave it at home. Listen, we'll round part 1 off. We'll round part 1 off.
We're going to round it off there.
Yeah, we're going to round it off there, and we're going to come back in the second part after the commercial break, and we're going to be speaking to the new manager of Litherland Remyca, Jamie Rainford. Don't go away. We'll see you soon. A heartfelt shout out to all the businesses supporting Skelmersdale United Football Club, especially T&W Garners and Pedro de Seda Enterprises. Thank you to everyone who donates to the club, supports our race nights, raffles, lottery bonus ball scheme, and the weekly draw in conjunction with NYCBA. A special thanks to those who organise such fundraising events, with a particular mention for the incredible Lee Davis and Rowena Hughes. To everyone who stands by us both on and off the pitch, we are truly grateful. If you wish to sponsor the show, please contact me at chairman.skemutdfc@gmail.com, or alternatively call me on 077 66 054 548. All proceeds will go to Skelmersdale United Football Club. Thank you for your unwavering support. Hello and welcome to the second part of the Speaking Frankly a Football Show, and a warm welcome to the new manager of Litherland Remyca, Jamie Rainford. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. So listen, it's been a little more than a week since you took the reins at a very struggling Litherland Remyca. Without being disrespectful, when I was doing my research, I quickly noticed that you'd had more clubs than Rory McIlroy, and I guess there's a reason why that might have happened, and we'll talk about that soon. But I want to go back to where your non-league story started. Can you tell me a bit about your footballing life before you joined Marine and when you got to Marine?
Yeah, so going back to where it started for me was I was playing for our local team on a Sunday for the Saltbox with some good lads there, and I was a season ticket holder at Everton when I left school, so that was kind of my thing. Everton on a Saturday and then play with locally on a Sunday. And the Bootle FC manager at the time, Chris O'Brien, he ended up coming to have a couple of games with us towards the end of the season. And it was the summer of Bootle moving into the new ground, and he'd been promoted into the counties. So yeah, long story short, he played a couple of games with myself, and he was like, you know, who are you playing for on a Saturday, blah blah blah. And I told him my situation. So he was like, look, you know, you can watch Everton in 20 years time, you know, come and play for us type thing. Which is what I'd done. Did that break up then?
No, we're still here.
No, sorry, someone was calling me. I just sent them to voice note. Yeah, sorry. So I ended up going up that summer for Obi at Bootle in the counties, and yeah, that's pretty much how and where it started for me. Yeah, as a late teenager.
Because I was sort of involved in your story to a very, very small degree. So when all the Football League scouts were sniffing around you at Marine, Paul Leary rang me to ask about what evaluation figure he should put on you should he sell you to a Football League side. And I was touting you around about £30,000. But you didn't actually get your move into full professional football as we anticipated, but Chester did eventually buy you. Chester were playing in the same division as Marine at the time.
Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, going back to that, you know, big part of that. That's a big part of my life and one of my most enjoyable times playing football. When I went to Marine, and yeah, just looking back on that, it's a little bit not disappointing how it went at that time, but disappointing when I look back now at my age and I evaluate how my career went and stuff like that. That should have been the catalyst where I should have went into the full-time game. There was a few things that stood in my way that were out of my control in terms of I was on a 2-year contract at Marine. There was a lad that season who had outscored Rosanna, who was out of contract that summer and got a 2-year deal at Bradford for free. Yeah. I had a big price tag against my name because I was under contract, which is fine. You know, the club are going to look after themselves and do what's right by them. And I just, at that time, the way things were going back then, I think it was a lot harder to get a move into the Football League from non-league compared to today. I think it's a lot easier now for lads who do really well in non-league to go and get a move. It's less of a risk. But that was my situation, and then it didn't quite develop. I know there was a couple of clubs, because I spoke to a couple direct in the Northwest who would have snapped me up. If it was available on the strength of offering, you know, pre-season friendlies. generate a bit of a gate to cover a bit of my cost that way. But again, it didn't materialise, and when Chester got in touch and agreed a fee with Marine, a good figure, I was happy to tell you Chester had just won the Evo Stick North, it would have been back then, and he were in the Prem, you know, and then they were a massive, they were really, the momentum was starting to build for them. Neil Young was putting together a really good squad, and they won the league that year anyway, and kicked on into the conference and whatnot. So yeah, when I spoke to Youngie at the ground, and he invited me down to Chester's ground, and I seen the infrastructure and 3,000 or 4,000 fans, they should walk the league. I just scored 36 league goals, I think, for Marine that year, so I'm thinking, you know, if I can't score, no disrespect, but if I can't score 40 or 50 goals here next year and really kick on, then there's something wrong. But again, in hindsight, it didn't quite go to plan.
I just want to go back a little bit, because before you got the move to Chester, I know you went to on trial to Notts County on a couple of occasions. Paul Ince called you back for a second trial. What other clubs were sniffing around you at that time? And on reflection, how come did it not work out between you and Notts County?
Do you know what? I went into the chairman, Paul Leary. He called me in one night in the lead up to Christmas, because no one could take me until January anyway. And he sat down with me, and he was dead open and honest, which was great. He went through every club that was interested and was repeatedly coming to watch. There was probably, say, 10 or 12 clubs on that list, all named League 1, League 2, going as far down south as far as Colchester and stuff like that. So there was a lot of interest. And then Paul Ince would come and watch me with Alex Ray, and they were the first to get in touch and say, do you want to come in? So I went down. Yeah, I had a good week down there with them, and then they invited me back down and said, look, we want a closer look at you. Come, you know, if you're happy, come back down. So they got me back down. I spent another couple of days down there, but the circumstances around that was, they had a lad at the time who'd played for Rangers. Alan Gower's name was a forward, played in the Champions League and stuff for Rangers. He was available on a free. So they basically said, they sat down with me and went, look, we'd take you, and we'd have you, but we're not paying a fee. Because we've got an experienced professional here who's played in the Champions League for free, or we've got a prospect unproven in the Football League, so to speak. But so yeah, that was my situation. He basically said, look, if we can have you for free, we'll take you right now. That was never in doubt. But
did you have a conversation with Paul at that time and ask?
Conversations were up between the clubs and an agent at the time, who Simon Conan, who had a good relationship with Paul Ince. They were trying to figure something out behind the scenes, and yeah, it didn't materialise. But they were open and honest, and look, you know, in hindsight, looking back now as a grown man, and you go, yeah, you don't. It's common sense, really, isn't it? You can take someone with Champions League experience, especially dropping down to League One in the English football. It was a no-brainer for them. But yeah, at the time I was heartbroken. I was devastated, to be honest with you, because you know I'd been down there and I'd really enjoyed my time with them. You know, a couple of weeks down there, and I felt I'd done more than enough to earn something from them. And again, just money came into play. I just think back then, you know, paying 30, 40, 50 grand upwards was what it was rumoured, closer to 50. I think, do you know what it was? They just got a replay. They not long had a replay with Man City in the FA Cup, if you remember. And so they must have generated a few quid from the FA Cup replay. It was Man City. It was around that time, and yeah, it just didn't materialise for for financial reasons.
They were already struggling financially, Notts County, at that stage, weren't they, I think?
Yeah. And again, you know, when you've got, you know, timing's everything, isn't it? Unfortunately for me, they've had a lad in training with them from Scotland, who's got, you know, Scottish Premier League experience and European football experience. So, you know what, to be dead honest with you, I can't really remember if, you know, what he was like at the time. I can't, but I just know he was there and he was available, and that was pretty much, that was what it was.
Jamie, how was? So you've talked to you about being quite heartbroken about that, which is entirely understandable. How do you pick yourself up after something like that?
Do you know what? I was only young at the time, and I think I could not the exact figures, but I think the second half I had to the season was, and I don't know whether it was an hangover from that. I don't know whether it was just, you know, maybe I was trying too hard to you know, score a lot more goals and try and get myself out there a lot more. But I think I wouldn't know the numbers without looking. But I think the second half of that season, I don't think my numbers were as good. But I still, on the whole, I had a really strong season. But yeah, I was disappointed, obviously, and it would have had a little bit of a hangover. It wouldn't have been intentional on my part to do that, but I just think sometimes it's hard to deal with that.
Mm-hmm. So listen, you eventually you get your move to Chester. You know, Neil Young is attracting a decent calibre of player to the team. Chester are on the up and looking to move further up the pyramid. But at what stage do you get loaned out to FC Halifax, and why? How come did that happen?
You know what? It was relatively soon, to be honest with you. I went in when I went into Chester. Obviously, it was I was their marquee signing. Though I was the one they were chasing. They eventually got me, and I went in with a lot of expectation. And it was expectation I should have dealt with relatively straightforward. I didn't. For personal reasons, I'd had an operation. In the first week in June, I'd had a big operation. I didn't tell them at the time because I didn't want it to hamper, which, looking back again now, maturity was stupid. Yeah. If I sat down with Youngie at the time, because eventually I did, a couple of weeks later, and he was like, oh, like, why didn't you just tell me, blah, blah, blah. But a long story short, I was training. I got back. I was back for the first day of pre-season. I should never have been there. Fitness-wise, physicality-wise, I was miles off it. And you know, my whole career's been built off fitness and being conditioned and being one of the, wherever I've been, you know, no one had ever outworked me. And it took a conversation with Youngie to Kevin Lynch at the time to say, does he get better as pre-season goes on? Like, does he get fitter? Because and Lynch, he was like, no, that's not him. Like, he's a front runner. And he was like, well, and then it was only that time where I've had a conversation with Kevin, who's then spoke to Youngie, and then he sat down with me and been like, why didn't you just say? So then they made that decision then pretty quick. He said, look, you won't kick a ball. You won't play a game, until the season opener. We can't risk it with what I'd been through, and that was fine. And then it kind of took a lot of pressure off me, and then I built into it. And then the season started, and I'm a big believer in things. Some things are meant to be, and Chester for me just wasn't meant to be. I was on the bench for the first game of pre-season. We were drawing 1-1, and I comes on for like the last, say, half an hour, and I wins a penalty, gets brought down. And I take the penalty myself, and the penalty taken out. I take the penalty, and I missed. The keeper read me like a book and saved it. And I think if I score and I've scored the winner on the first home win, I'm off then.
Psychologically, it gives you the boost.
Massively. And the fact it didn't, I don't know. Just like I say, some things are meant to be, and it didn't. But I played the next game on a Tuesday night. I scored. We had a bit of a run, and then I found myself out the team, and it just didn't. It just wasn't going for me. The team, I think the team, we went on like a 10-game winning streak or something like that. But we played Bradford Park away, and we lost. It was the first game we'd lost, and it was on a Tuesday night, and I've come on with, like, say, the last 10. We lost 1-0. I've come on, last 10 minutes, team weren't great, what have you. We goes home. I started getting a lot of abuse then on social media.
Because they're quite an unforgiving crowd, aren't they, to be fair?
Yeah. And to be fair, in the early days of, you know, as you do a young lad, the attention, and, you know, I'm accepting people on social media, and I'm, you know, so you've got to take the good with the bad, and you take the plaudits when they come. So you've got to take, you know, the stick when it comes as well, which you know. But it started getting personal towards my family, my sister and stuff. So I've reacted, and I've got involved in back and forth arguments with people, and they were screen grabbing it and putting it on the Chester forum with like thousands of members on this forum, and it just grew and grew and grew in a space of hours. And then Youngie calls me the next day and was like, fucking hell type thing, what's going on here, and explain the situation. And he said, look, the club want to try and get you out, let this die down, what have you. It's fine, but get me out of here. But, you know, at that point, I wasn't too bothered. And then Neil Aspin had been on Halifax in the conference, and he was like, look, I think this will suit you better, come up here. You're starting for me in the FA Cup against Charlton live on the telly next Sunday. So I was like, let's get it, just do it. I'd played against Halifax a couple of times for Marine. And yeah, so that's what happened. It worked out for Chester, and it worked out for me. Obviously, I'm going into Halifax, turns up at the Shea, you know, what a place to play football, and they were flying at the time. I've got the excitement of knowing I'm playing on Sunday in the FA Cup live on ITV and stuff. So yeah, so that's what that came about, if I'm dead open and honest about it. Yeah, that's how the Halifax thing happened then.
And what happened? Halifax, how did it all end there in the... So
Halifax couldn't have went any better. I think I scored 6 in 9 for them. I just it just worked. I just found a love for what I was doing. They seemed to welcome me in with open arms, and again, it just worked. Whatever that environment was for me, it worked. I scored some really, really, really good goals. At the time, Chester were now starting to go, hang on, this is the lad we signed here. This is the lad we've chased all summer to bring in. So I'd sat down just before Christmas. I could only do a month, and then another month. They couldn't sign me for a. They couldn't get me on a 3rd month loan. It didn't work. It was either a season-long loan after that, or I go back. But obviously, my form, and what I'm doing in the conference, I'm doing really well. So Neil Aspin sits down with me one night and is like, look, I'm going to go to the board. I want to buy you. Like, what are you thinking? What's your thoughts? So I was like, absolutely, yeah. So he sat down with me and said, look, I'm going to go to the board and ask them to back me to buy you. Is that, you know, before I do, is this what you want to do? And I was like, yeah, let's get it done. But then I had to go back to Chester until I think my loan had finished just before Christmas, and then obviously they couldn't renew my loan, but they couldn't buy me until January. So I goes back to Chester, and then I just got my head turned when I went back. So
you, in that sense, you were back at Chester, and you thought you'd had a shout then again.
Yeah. Well, what happened? Obviously, in my head, when I've gone back, I'm playing, I'm doing really well. Totally different person to the one I was a couple of months back. I'm at the level I should be at in terms of fitness and confidence and just enjoyment of football. I'm where I'm exactly I should be. Sits down with Youngie and that, and then he was like, you know, he spun me a dream. I'm thinking, I've got enough in my head, and I'll be dead honest with you, I'm thinking, if I leave Chester now, that's done. That chapter of my life is done. If I stay at Chester and give it one more go, I believe I've got enough credit in the bank at Halifax that they'll understand from a Jamie Rainford point of view, from being selfish, is if I give Chester one more go and it doesn't work, then I can't have no regrets. And then hopefully I've built enough credit up with Halifax to then go back to them and say, and that's how it was. At the time, I don't think I spoke directly with Neil Aspin when I went back to Chester. Maybe that's the conversation I should have had. I didn't. But I've agreed to stay at Chester. He starts me against Ebbsfleet in the FA Trophy away at Ebbsfleet. I thought he had a really good game. I scored. We got beat 3-2. I played the next game at home. I think the conditions were horrendous, and I think we drew 1-1, and he didn't play me after that. He didn't pick me. He didn't bring me on. I don't know what. I honestly couldn't answer you that question to say what had happened. I don't know.
He never spoke to you. He never said anything.
No, not from my recollection. No. I think I played one more game after the Ebbsfleet game. I'm pretty certain I started. I think it might have been against Frickley. The next game I was on the bench and he didn't bring me on. Made 3 changes, didn't bring me on. So I knew then I'm not stupid. I knew that was curtains. And he phoned me the next day and was like, look, it's probably best, you know, that you move on permanently. Halifax have been back on. And I just said, look, don't phone me back until it's done. Kind of thing. You know, a week ago, I'm flavour of the month, and a week or two later, I've been shelved. You know what I mean? Which I get it. Football, look, not naive. I understand how football works, but at the time, I wear my heart on my sleeve in football, and everything I do, my downfall has been I care that much about where I am and playing football. That's probably been my biggest downfall at times as well. So that was that, and then it was quite funny actually because they phoned me about a day or two later. Must have been desperate to get me gone. So they phoned me and been like, have they been in touch yet? I said, no, I haven't heard anything. So I got a text about 5 minutes later saying, if you want to sign for Halifax, you'll phone me off Neil Aspin. So I phoned him anyway, and he read me the Fire Act for about 2 minutes.
Was going to say, did you have to build a few bridges back there with him?
Oh, listen, he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy because of the fact, you know, he'd been to his board to get money to buy me. They've agreed, and then I've said no. I've kind of reneged on what I'd agreed on with him. But I explained to him, which is, again, I said to you before, that maybe that should have been a conversation I had. I don't know whether it did. I probably didn't.
How old were you then? You were around about 23 then, were you, or younger?
Yeah, probably around 23, 24, 25-ish, maybe. But at that time as well, I had other managers phoning me. I had Gaisley, I had Steve Kitchen at Gaisley.
Yeah.
They come down to watch Chester on Boxing Day, but I was ineligible to play, and they were offering me, you know, what they were offering me was frightening. So in reality, I was true to my word in terms of if I was going to leave Chester, it was going to be I was only going to go to Halifax. And then that happened. I spoke to Aspin on the day, and I went up whatever night it was, Tuesday night or something, and we done it. We signed an 18-month deal.
And how did that turn out for you, sort of on the pitch and in your own mind? So obviously you'll have still had the regrets about going back to Chester. Was it a case of having to reset your head once you'd gone back to Halifax?
Do you know what? I was that excited by it. Being honest and looking back now, I don't think I don't think the disappointment was there at that time for what had gone on at Chester. I think it was just more of a relief probably for everyone, really, to be honest with you. Probably, you know, I'm no angel as well. I'm not painting out I was perfect for Youngie. I was probably a headache for him as well, that he probably thought in the end he could do without. So no, more relief. I was more just happy to get it done. I was at a very good car school at Halifax with lads, you know, I can still speak to today. So yeah, it was more just relief and excitement to get going again and recapture what I'd done previously a month or two back.
Yeah. So now that you're at Halifax and you're eager to get going, over the course of the next few years, when did it dawn on you that that non-league football was where your future was?
Probably at that time, but for me, I wouldn't put that in a negative spin, because I've been bought by the two biggest clubs in non-league football. So for me, that at that time, that, you know, I was proud of that. Still, I'm looking back now, probably more prouder now.
Yeah, of course.
And I'd accepted that. Yeah, I'd accepted it. That in my mindset at that time, I'd still be thinking, you know, if I score 10 or 15 goals in quick succession in the conference, I'm gone. Mm-hmm. So I always had that mindset and drive, even as I go down the line, and I was at Glossop and I'm scoring 35, 40, I'm still, in my head, I'm still thinking I'm going to get a move. So that's always.
But you could have got those moves, like you say, at Chester or Halifax, because their teams very much in a sort of growth plan where they were rejuvenated and trying to get back into the Football League. So you could have got back into the Football League with FC Halifax, for instance. Yeah,
and you know what? I should have. That this is me disappointment now. Looking back, was Chester was when I went to Chester. That was a Football League setup in a non-league environment that I should have really grabbed by the scruff of the neck, and there couldn't have been any question marks over me then, because if you can perform in front of 4,000 fans every week in a club under pressure where I was going in as the main man, then, you know, someone in League One looking at you thinking, well, can he handle pressure? Can he play in front of a crowd week in, week out? I'd have answered all them questions, but again, like I say, just timing and different factors, it just didn't work out for me. But it should have, and it is a big disappointment.
So listen, what happened at Halifax in the end? Because obviously your journey in non-league football then gets a little bit more sort of erratic in terms of you've been through a plethora of football clubs. How did it unfold? Or eventually unfold at Halifax?
Do you know what? Again, I'll be honest with you. It was coming up. We were going for the playoffs, and we played on a midweek game. I think we drew 0-0, and we went away to. It was somewhere down by London. I'm unsure of who it was now. The team evades me. But so we drew on the midweek. I didn't think I'd done too bad. I'm just starting to, you know, been a bit of a miss since I'd gone back. And I wasn't in the team. I was on the bench. And I didn't agree with him. I was devastated, to be fair. Like I said to you before, my biggest downfall at times, as well as it being one of my strengths, is that I care too much, and at that I just couldn't handle my emotion with it. And at the time, I've refused to get changed. The lads are getting dressed and going out, filtering out for the warm up, and I'm still sat in my trackie, just trying to get me head straight and it's just looking again stupid, looking back.
Yeah, but you're crying out for a bit of decent man management at the same time as well, aren't you? You're looking for somebody to put their arm around you and help you through them bad times because you're young.
Yeah, maybe, but I was streetwise enough and enough common sense to understand what I was doing was not the right thing to do, which, again, in hindsight, I knew that. Was I looking for a reaction for someone to then come in and put their arm around me and say that? Maybe, but some managers get it, some managers do tough love. Anyway, long story short, he come in and he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, you know, why aren't I playing? And he was like, you know, you're not playing, that's pretty, you know, it is what it is, get stripped and get out. So I didn't come off the bench, he left me on the bench, and then we were playing Guiseley in the midweek, 6-pointer, with a couple of games left for the playoffs, and he left me out the squad. So, yeah, just a rash decision, I've picked my stuff up and I've left. I've walked out. And as I'm walking out the ground, down the side of the pitch to the players' car park at the Shea, I phoned my dad and I'm, you know, I'll be honest with you, I was crying as I was telling him because I knew it was wrong what I was doing. But that situation had just gone, it made my mind up. On that split second of raw emotion, that made my mind up, I was going. He's telling me to go back. And I'm like, I've gone too far, Dad, I'm out, I've gone. And that was it, yeah. I can't remember how the game went, but I left, I went home.
On reflection, do you feel as though you should have turned back as your dad told you to?
Oh, million percent. I knew at the time. I knew the moment to pick me. Once I made that decision in my head, and people listen to this and think it was stupid, but at the time, I made that split-second decision. I'm going, and I walked out, and there was a couple of lads were like saying, "What are you, lad? Like, you know, this is the end. Don't do it." But I something inside me, a switch had gone, and I knew, yeah, obviously that's where the emotion come from as I'm speaking to my dad and he's saying to me, son, go back. Like, you know, there's no way back from this. And I was like, I've gone too far, Dad. It is. I've done it. I've gone. And then, yeah, well, that was the end of it. It wasn't the end of it, but deep down, that was the end of it between me and the gaffer at the time. I did end up, like I say, I knew it was wrong at the time. A couple of days had passed. He spoke to me, you know, he'd given me both barrels, which I deserved. I tried my best to apologise. I apologised to all the lads the next chance I got my head down for a couple of games. I wasn't involved, I done me running, just tried to get my head down and get back involved, but we were in the playoffs. I was travelling, I weren't in the squad. But I was promised a clean slate in the summer. Because I said, look, I'd go for nothing, release me, you know, if I'm done, I'm done, type thing. And he was like, look, go away, work hard, and show me in pre-season how much you want it, which I did. I had a great pre-season, and once the real stuff came around, it was just never the same. It was never the same. I was in at the start, and then he just quickly phased me out. And then that's probably where my stability of being at that level and staying around clubs, that's for me probably where that ended at that time.
Yeah. Do you feel as though, I know you said the sort of phasing you out, but do you feel as though sort of mentally and psychologically you've phased yourself out of the club in many ways?
I don't know, because when I've had that conversation with him in the summer, I couldn't have done any more that summer to go back and get myself fit. I obviously know how to play the game, so I know if I've got to get in your good books, I know I've got to do everything right. So I'm trying my best, and probably something I should have done at Chester. I should have played the game a little bit more in terms of the fans and stuff like that, but it didn't, and that's gone. But Halifax, I tried it with him. I tried my best to really show him, you know, look, I really do want to be part of it. But he was old school. He was a good pro himself, and he said a few things to me on the phone when I did walk out, and, you know, he was very old fashioned, and, you know, is he going to let some young kid from Liverpool come in and try, you know, mess him around? I don't know. He obviously hasn't been able to get over it, and I tried my best, and it didn't come off. But, you know, make no mistake, there's only one person to blame for not working, and that's myself.
I would imagine at that level that you were playing back then, if you come sort of forward to the, you know, the day and age of now, that in terms of help with social media, people are there to advise on what you should and shouldn't say on social media.
Yeah, do you know, it weren't Twitter back then. I think it was more Facebook. So again, it's personal to you, isn't it? Facebook and your Instagram. Now I'm a dad with 2 young kids, so I'm not even on Facebook, and so Instagram, you know, I know everyone who's on my page. So back then, you know, as a young daft kid, yeah, accept. Yeah, you're following everyone back and you're loving it. Got caught up in it. So you're opening yourself up to criticism.
Listen, you're not the only one, by the way. I fell out with the Chester fans many moons ago as well, because I did a radio interview, and I think I used the words that they were getting. What was the word I used at the time? They were being rewarded for failure because they'd been dropped out of the Football League and being parachuted into our division. And listen, I wish I'd never have said them words, but I did. But and once you've said that, there's no way of coming back. And I remember being at Chester. I can't remember what the score line was in the end, but I remember about 2,000 people chanting my name, and obviously anything that rhymes with Frank.
Yeah.
So it was. Yeah, you can't upset the Chester fans, and we
did that too. Yeah,
we did it in last season.
We dropped the ball about a year ago with a bit of factual inaccuracy as well. So like, when you say that the Chester fans are a hard bunch to please, we understand that. We do.
No, look, they should have adored me, and I should have made them, and that's a fact. I should have done what I'd done previous seasons before. It was all there for me. I should have done what I was brought in to do, and they'd love me, but I didn't, and I've done stupid things. You know, I've said it. You know, I'm arguing with people on Facebook, but the comment I did make wasn't aimed at Chester fans. It was aimed at the 4 or 5 people who were abusing my family.
Yeah.
But once it's out there, once people are screen grabbing and posting it, and a couple of people jump on it, it sticks. Don't get thrown off mud, it'll stick. And it didn't. And like I say, I was silly enough to do it and say what I say. You know, you're old enough. You're older now. If it happened different times, you wouldn't be accepting strangers onto your personal social media pages. It just wouldn't have happened. But yeah, that again, all my own doing.
Yeah. So after you've left, obviously you've walked away from Halifax, and they phased you out. So over the next kind of few years and the next few clubs, did you continue to allow your heart to rule your head, or was there a point at where the kind of emotional, you know, thought processes kind of set in, and you were able to think a bit more rationally?
Do you know what? Right, I wish I could say yes, but
I had a feeling you ain't go to.
It didn't. No, I can't remember the full journey from there, but to the point where I then found happiness again and found myself was I went to sign for Lee Donaghy and Chris Wilcox at Glossop.
Right.
And it was a match made in heaven. But you know, we spoke to them. There was probably four or five incidents where, you know, we'd had fallen out of. I've said things, I've been brought off and reacted completely over the top in the wrong way.
So you're breaking up a little bit there.
Oh, I remember. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we're just breaking up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I remember again, just an instance that just come to me now was we were playing Warrington at home, and they were winning. They won the league that year. Warrington had a really strong side, and we kind of come out of the blue. Glossop, they just won the counties and come up to the West Division. But I'd scored a full of goals, and we were right up there. So anyway, the non-league paper had done a thing about me versus Kieran Collini.
Yeah.
It was the forward. Me versus him type thing, shootout, and he didn't start me. Ran dead out the blue. He didn't start me in that game. So again, I couldn't process it. And I just couldn't understand, and I couldn't get my head around it, and I walked out.
Listen, to sort of the theme that's sort of propping up really is that it's been a long journey in non-league football. It's been a hard one, but at any stage has it been a satisfying one? And I probably already know the answer to this one. It's probably full of regrets.
Do you know what? I do sit in reflection, sometimes, and I do look back on things and listen. I can't change who I am in terms of my emotion. It's the reason now why I'm still as fit as I am, and I'd love nothing more to still be playing, and I still get out and I do my runs. I'm in a gym. I've been in a boxing gym. I'm still do as much as I did, and I've done that since I was 17 years of age, and I was playing proper football. I've always lived by that, so I've given my heart and soul to it. So I couldn't change who I am, probably because it's made me the person I am. The regrets, 1,000,000%. There's only one or two regrets I've got. Should have learned from them regrets? Yeah, the 1,000,000% I should have, but I didn't. But looking back, I'm happy with some of the things I can say I've done and that have happened for me. I think I can find a bit of content with it. But obviously, yeah, there is one or two regrets.
Of course.
But I just don't try not to dwell on it. I try and look back on the things that I can be happy with, and the things that I've done, and the things that I've created for myself over the years.
Yeah. Listen, a couple of questions before we go on to the start out in management, but a difficult question maybe for you, but which club did you enjoy being at most, and what do you think you'd be doing differently given another go at the start of your career?
The club I enjoyed most, and it was a massive deal for me at the time, was Marine.
Yeah.
Young lad, free.
I watched you when you were playing for Marine, and you were exceptional.
Yeah, it was just. I went in there was a lot of experience, and you know what? I still speak to Waka now. I class Waka as a friend, Peter Comiskey.
Yeah.
And he was there, and he was brilliant for me because I'd watched Marine. I used to go up with my dad and one of my dad's good mates, Davey Parker, and they used to go if Marine were playing on a Tuesday night, only a handful of times. But it's something that sticks out in my mind, and I remember going to watch them, say, when I was like 15, 16 of age, at the year.
So you break it up again there.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, and I remember going down and watching them thinking, I'd love a little bit of this. Obviously, dream was always to play for Everton, but the reality was, I'd love to be playing here now. There's a good crowd here. Boss said, with a proper ground, stands, proper pitch. Like, this is a bit of me, this. And then, so when it did happen, and it happened quite quick, I was made up, like I say, and I say this to anyone now, because I weren't on great money at Marine, I had to play there for free, which I pretty much was when I first went there, and I was first really starting to establish myself. I had to give them a wage to allow me to be part of the club and to do what I've done there. So Marine for me is one I look back on with fond memories, to be honest with you. Did they look back on at me like that? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not too sure on that. But it's, for me, that was the place when I was a young boy.
What do you make of the club at the moment now, Marine? On the up again?
Oh, massively. Listen, momentum's everything, and they've got it. They've done brilliant from when I was there. You know, we could have only dreamed of getting out of the Evo Stick Prem at the time, which was a very hard league. Some really strong teams in it with a lot of money. So to do what they've done and to have, you know, get a bit of luck with the FA Cup draws and stuff like that. And
I was just going to say that it would be good to imagine what a young, fit Jamie Rainford at the top of his game would have been like playing against Spurs.
Yeah, might have give Gareth Bale something to worry about going back. Pulled out on the wing, but no, I'd have loved it. But I experienced that against again. That's one of the highlights for me. Just playing against Charlton in the FA Cup. We were playing in League One at the time.
Yeah.
No, but Marine, I'm made up to see them do what they do. It's a club that's brilliant, and they've got really good people. Who was still there now, Dave, my people, showed me around. I bumped into him last summer, and he was like, come in and have a look at the new pitch and the new setup and all that. So, no, they're good, and long may it continue for them as well.
Yeah. No. So listen, what do you think you would have done differently had you got another chance at it again now?
Do you know in hindsight, I got told to wait. When I signed for Chester, I agreed to sign for Chester probably about a week after the season finished. And the guy who was dealing with me at the time, Simon, he was like, mate, the season's just finished. You will get a move. Just be patient. And patience isn't one of my virtues, unfortunately for me. But once Youngie got me down to Chester's grounds and showed me around, and he was telling me about the average fans and this and that, and it should have been easy for me. It really should have been.
Listen, he sold you the dream, hasn't he? And it's a fantastic stadium.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah, and he should, but everything he said to me, I should have lived up to my end, and I didn't. So in hindsight, should have waited. Possibly, I would have loved another year at Marine. I'd have loved just, you know, I probably weren't in a rush. I probably should have waited and had another year. I'd have loved it. But again, young, naive, you know, maybe I should have stayed and done another year and had a good season and seen me contract out, and then seeing where it was up to. But at the time, no patience. Probably loved the attention, if I'm being honest with you, that I was getting from the football community, and then someone comes along and I jumped, and maybe that I would have loved to have had to maybe stayed another year, but that's life.
Like you say, patience, good luck, sometimes hard work. If you can blend all them together at the same time, you're on a winner. But listen, you've still had a magnificent career that a lot of people would give the left arm for.
Yeah, I have, and like I say, I'm content. You know, there's things we've spoke about, haven't we, that I would change if I could go back, but I can't. And it's nice to look back. My mum's kept loads of stuff in the house, clippings and paper write-ups and reports and stuff like that, and it's nice to look back on them. A lot of it is from Marine, obviously, because it's local to us, and it is nice to look back. And like I say, I've got a transfer fee against my name from the two of the biggest clubs in non-league football. So I can be proud that I've scored a lot of goals. I've played in some big games, playoff finals, cup finals, FA Cups, live on the telly. You know, so
it's hardly been a failure, has it? Let's be honest.
So you've hit the peaks.
No, a couple of people, you know, I will look at it on reflection and say, and people can agree or disagree or have an opinion. You know, the downside for me is I never played in the football league. I should have, in my opinion. I I think if it was 10 years later, 1,000,000% I would have, because I do believe it is easier now to go from non-league into the Football League pyramid. That's one thing I look back and I should have, I didn't. But no, on reflection, I've done all right, and I'm happy. If I've had a good non-league career, I'd give anything to go back and do it all again. To be honest with you,
I think about 80% of the people listening to this show and who sort of played football at any level will probably have said the same thing. To be honest, mate, you've now kind of moved into management with Litherland Remyca. Did you know that this was something that you wanted to do, at some stage, or did it kind of turn up out of the blue? What happened?
Being dead honest, as I have been for the last hour, no, it wasn't. It wasn't something. No, I'll be dead genuine.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. I've been that dedicated and selfish over the years in terms of football, even into my 30s. Everything I done from a Sunday to the following Saturday, I was selfish enough to put myself first and prepare to give the best version of me on a Saturday, even 33, 34, 35. That's how I've lived my life. So having two young kids, being out on a Tuesday, Thursday, going home and going to the gym on a Monday and a Wednesday or what have you. Once I finished, that was kind of like, right, my time's dedicated to being at home now. I'm a good dad, but just it was time to go. Well, I'm home now every night. Come home from work, I'm home, I'm dad. So it wasn't something I've actively I wanted, but it's come out the blue. I had a phone call off a good mate of mine who spoke to me about it, and I was like, do you know what? What have I got to lose? I've got enough. I've met enough people in football that I should be able to make this work and have a go and turn it round. And the club's run by good people who I know because I'm local to the area. And I thought, I'll give it a go. I'll go in and I'll if I say I'll do something, I'll do it with every ounce of my ability, and I'll give me all, which it's consumed me for the last 7 days. Consumed me more than when I was playing, to be honest with you. But it's kind of just come to me, and it's one that I'm looking forward to having a good go at it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
You've already actually answered one of my questions, really. Your little black book must be absolutely bulging with people's names, considering the amount of journey you've done in non-league football. So hopefully that will help support you in your new role as the manager.
Yeah, it's not as easy as what I thought it would be.
No.
It's not. It's a hard sell at the minute. And that's what I'm finding a little bit difficult. But we played West Didsbury last night, my first game in charge. And do you know what? And I know people come out, do you say to you, done well, and the lad's done brilliant. And it's not as bad, because I only met them on Monday. So I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But honestly, and I said this to the lads last night, it's not too far away. I don't think there's much difference, and I don't mean this disrespectful, other than the top, say, 5 or 6 teams in that league, from the bottom to outside the top 5 or 6. I don't think there's much in it between the teams, to be dead honest with you. And we're not far off. We're a couple shy. We need to bring some experience in. Is the biggest thing for me, a bit of experience and a bit of steel, to add to a very young squad. But it's a very young squad with a lot of ability, a lot of speed, a lot of energy. But I've just got to find the right mix to add to it.
Are you going to come out of retirement yourself?
Do you know what I'm thinking about it for Saturday, to be honest with you? Saturday's a 6-pointer. So I've thought about it, to be honest with you, but no, I can't do it. Do you know what, mate? I'll trust the people who will pick to be good enough on Saturday. And they will be. There's some good kids there, and we'll be fine. We'll turn it round, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I was sort of wondering about that one. Who's supporting you on your management team? Who have you got brought in?
I've got a friend of mine, Sal, who's come in with me, and he's been a great help. He was at Glossop. Well, he's done a little bit with Dave Mannix and Stu Mellish. He's come in with me. There's only me and him, to be dead honest with you. That's enough. I want to be very hands-on for the time that I get to spend with the lads with training at 8 o'clock, to be honest with you. So I want to be very hands-on with them. So me and Sal, Sal's come in. He's helping me out. He's my assistant and a coach. So so we're just doing it between us at the minute.
Has your phone already been quite busy?
It has. I've probably got about 65 WhatsApp chats open at the minute with different people and personnel. But like I said to you before, it's not the easiest sell in the world at this moment in time. If people don't want to trust you and buy into what you're trying to do, they won't pay.
Yeah, they do.
That's the really difficult part of it, isn't it? The budgets range quite really unbelievable budgets higher up in that division.
Yeah, do you know what? And that's fine. But the best budgets don't always win leagues. I've noticed that. But we played West Didsbury last night. 4 of their players covers our full budget for a squad of 16 and a management staff. Do you know what I mean? So that's what we're up against. But you know, if a player wants to come and play for me, and he's asking me what's the money, then you're not for me. You're not for me, because we don't have that facility available to us. So if you're primary motivated, which is of course everyone wants to get paid, but I want to try and bring players in who are going to back me and trust me, and help more so than anything than get paid. Because like I say, I've been in dressing rooms where players have come in for big money, and I've very rarely seen it work, if I'm being dead honest with you. So I don't have that facility, so it's up to me to try to unearth someone, which I do believe we've got some really good young players there. It's just up to me now to add to it, add a bit of experience to guide these lads through, and get them to turn it around.
And talking about guiding these lads through, you've already admitted that you've been a sort of a difficult player to manage yourself. How would you cope with egos yourself now going into management?
Good question. I got a friend of mine, Lee, said this to me last night, and I had a laugh, and he went, good. I said, so you don't come up with, let's hope you don't come across someone like you. So just joking in yesterday, I had a laugh about it, but no, do you know what? I understand. I understand every individual is different. I understand how to manage people. I understand how you're meant to treat people, how to speak to people. Not everyone's the same. You know, shouting at him might not mean, putting your arm around him might not necessarily work for that person, and so on and so forth. So I don't know. Hopefully I don't, to be honest with you. But I tell you one thing, I might have been difficult at times, but I always delivered. So if you want to come and deliver for me, I'll put up with that. I'll manage. I'll deal with you a different way if you're going to come in and score me 30 goals.
Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds reasonable. Listen, you're an Skem player, albeit one game. So listen, we always treat our own as best as we possibly can. So we're wishing you the best of luck in your new role in management for the rest of the season. So listen, good luck from all of us.
No, gent, thank you. Do you know what? It's been a lovely hour there talking to you. You took me down memory lane there, which has been nice. Been nice going back over my career and over time and speaking about it. It's brought up some very fond memories. So thank you very much, and thanks for the best wishes. Yeah. Try and get down and see a game and come and have a pint with us after we win.
We'll be more than happy to do that, Jay. Yeah. Right, all the very best, my mate. You take care.
Take care, mate.
Cheers, fellas. Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
A heartfelt shout out to all the businesses supporting Skelmersdale United Football Club, especially T&W Garners and Pedro de Seda Enterprises. Thank you to everyone who donates to the club, supports our race nights, raffles, lottery bonus ball scheme and the weekly draw in conjunction with NYCBA. A special thanks to those who organise such fundraising events, with a particular mention for the incredible Lee Davis and Rowena Hughes. To everyone who stands by us both on and off the pitch, we are truly grateful. If you wish to sponsor the show, please contact me at chairman.skemutdfc@gmail.com or alternatively call me on 077 66 054 548. All proceeds will go to Skelmersdale United Football Club. Thank you for your unwavering support. Hello and welcome to the third and final part of the Speaking Frankly football show, and thank you very much to Jamie Rainford, who agreed to come on as a guest on the show in the second part of the show. We are on the third part of the show, aren't we?
We are.
It's quite confusing, really, isn't it? But,
it's been a long week.
What did you make of the interview?
Oh man, that was so enlightening. You can tell that this guy's had a brilliant career on the pitch.
Yeah.
He's obviously talked about some of the lows he's experienced, but so many people would have given their left arm for the kind of career on the pitch that he had. And he's just fell a little bit short, and if one or two things had gone his little bit away, in terms of making the Football League, but a little bit more luck, a little bit more understanding. Yeah, but I mean, how many people actually make it to the Football League from England in this day and age? He's got to be part of the 1%. And maybe he was just part of the 1.01 that, didn't. And that's okay. That's really okay. Because he still had a career that so many people can look back on and be proud of. Yeah. He lit it up at Chester and Halifax and Marine. Heavyweights of non-league that we talk about constantly. I mean, if I was, my local team, for born and bred purposes, my local team is Scunthorpe United, who are sitting in the National League, nationally proper at this rate, but if I gone and played for them and scored a hatful of goals at the Attis Arena, Glanford Park, if you're from there,
you'd retire on that.
Oh man, that's incredible.
You'd eat out on it.
I'd still be wandering around Scunthorpe and probably not have to pay for a pint. But so for as much as what he may regret not having a career in the Football League, which it sounds to all intents and purposes like he every bit deserved due to his natural talent. My God, Jamie, what a career you have had. So, and I really hope, just for how nice a guy he is, that he has an equally satisfying and high quality career in the dugout. I really do wish him all the best.
And it's difficult to feel sorry for him because he certainly doesn't feel sorry for himself. But he's been quite open and honest and said that his flaw, if anything, was his honesty and his passion.
Yeah, I think it is an honesty and his passion, and that's how some of the greatest players of our modern era have kind of carved out their careers. Look at Roy Keane. That guy was known for wearing his heart on his sleeve and kind of.
But probably knew where to draw the line a little bit better, maybe.
I don't know. Did you see that interview on MUTV that ended his career at United? I mean, that wasn't great.
By that time, he'd earned the big bucks, hadn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but do you need to earn the big bucks to, have that kind of demand and say those kind of things? We talk about the kind of restraint that players and managers have to show at any level in order to, maintain respect and, maintain the dressing room, really. And I think Jamie's going to be one who knows that more than anybody for wearing his heart on his sleeve. That's now got to transmit into supporting his players as best he can. So we just...
I think going back to Keane, I think Keane was destined to be a pundit. And in many ways, when you get a manager that's had a career in football like Jamie has, and he's been sort of dragged through a hedge backwards at times, sometimes by his own, due to his own
feelings.
Then he could really, really do well in terms of management. And who's to say at this stage, and moving on, that he couldn't maybe not particularly got into the Football League, but as a player, but he could certainly possibly have a shot at doing it
as a manager.
As a manager, there's not many. We talk about the percentages of non-league players that actually play in the Football League. I'd love to know what the percentage of non-league managers that get into the Football League as well. I mean, the biggest one of all that sort of went through the stages right from the Northern Premier League all the way up to the Football League was John Coleman at Accrington Stanley. There's not a lot.
No, I mean, I suppose you could say Robbie Savage, although he's
still one short.
He's space hopped a little bit, hasn't he? Yeah.
But he's still got to prove it at Forest Green before he gets into the Football League.
He does.
I think he might be one of the success stories there.
He could. Yeah, I think you're probably right. We'll just have to wait and see. But in the meantime, sort of thank you very much again, Jamie Rainford, for coming on the show, and we really do wish you all the best.
Yeah, fabulous chat, and also anything for any up and coming footballer that's got talent and is getting scouted a lot is
speak to him
because he'll certainly push it in the right direction.
Really will.
Yeah, listen, moving on to our fixtures, predictions and expert analysis. So, listen, I'm going to take a quick look at the FA Cup fourth qualifying round draw first of all. Those teams in the north that are involved in it. Darlington at home to AFC Telford, Macclesfield at home to Stamford, Gainsborough Trinity at home to Hartlepool United, Carlisle United at home to Boston, Rochdale at home to York City, Runcorn Linnets, who we talked about before, at home to Buxton, Morecambe at home to Chester, South Shields versus Spalding, Tamworth versus Hyde, Scunthorpe versus Kings Lynn, Aveley versus Gateshead, Spennymoor Town versus Billericay, Southport versus Halifax, who we mentioned before, and Altrincham versus Harborough. Sounds some really, really interesting fixtures there, not least of all the Morecambe Chester one, because I think this is an ideal opportunity for Chester to grab a spectacular win against a team that's really out of form at the moment.
Very much so. I mean, Chester themselves aren't exactly hitting the ground running in the National League North either.
I think pressure on them, I would have thought.
A bit less pressure on them. I think we all expected Chester to hit the ground running after missing out on promotion last season. They got to the playoff semi-finals, but their quest there was ended. But they've started really poorly, and they're sitting in 16th place in the National League North, and they're going to a Morecambe side who are in the midst of a rebuild that is not going their way. And Jaipal Singh, the manager at Morecambe, already finding himself under a bit of pressure there.
You mentioned it last week, didn't you?
Yes, we did, and I think that that pressure is prolonged a little bit.
Mounting pressure.
Very much mounting. So each side, I think, is hoping for a bit of a result there to get into the first round of the FA Cup proper and galvanise their season a little bit more.
And I think we extend our support towards the likes of the local teams. We certainly want to see Southport do well and turn their fortunes around against Halifax Town. So good luck to Southport. Good luck to anybody competing in the final qualifying round of the FA Cup. This is the thing that dreams, certainly supporters and players at that level, are built upon. And I know people will be dreaming about it now before they go into battle. And listen, there's going to be winners and losers, but
there really will. Yeah, we just hope that the winners are those within our inner circle. So, like we say, we've always talked about on and off about Scunthorpe United because that's where I'm from. They play at Kings Lynn Town, so there's a division that separates them. Scunthorpe started really, really well in the National League proper. Kings Lynn Town doing really reasonably well in the National League North, so either one of those teams get into the FA Cup first round. Southport not having the most amazing season domestically, but maybe they'll put more of their efforts into their cup competition for this particular occasion where they host Halifax Town, who we've been talking about with Jamie Rainford. So you know, it's the final hurdle before the dreams start to become reality. And then Runcorn Linnets, they're at home to Buxton, and we certainly hope to see all manner of fireworks going on the pitch, but not off them. Run call.
Totally agree with you.
Limits fans, you've been told.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's worth noting at this stage anyway that, you know, whoever wins these ties, I think they get best parts of £10,000. And then the chance of elevating themselves even further. And we keep recreating the story of Marine and how they managed to get to the third round against Tottenham Hotspur. So listen, out of all those teams, 34 teams left in the last qualifying round, you can dream big. We hope that someone can repeat the feat that Marine?
Yes.
Yeah, Marine.
Very much so, yeah. Won't be us this time, but give it a few years, maybe we'll be back there amongst the big boys soon enough. Yeah. Now then,
let's move on to the fixtures this weekend, and most of it's absorbed by the Macron Cup second round. So tonight, AFC Liverpool play McGull. AFC Liverpool have been doing relatively well in the cup games.
Yes.
McGull have slipped a little bit in the in the sort of last few games. So I don't know how to call that one.
There's got to be a winner in this one, though.
I'm going to go for AFC Liverpool, surprisingly.
All right. I'm going to go that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
I agree with you there. I think AFC Liverpool did reasonably well against Atherton Allar, although the storyline does tell a bit of a different story. Whereas McGull, you know, for all of their attacking adventures here, you've got to wonder about that defence a little bit. So yeah, home win for me.
Yeah.
And then we hit the Saturday fixtures there. All of these 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Macron Cup second round, and we go to the Mechanics Ground where AFC Blackpool take on Barnoldswick Town.
Well, there's a division between both of them, but it has to be said that Barnoldswick not doing particularly well, I don't think. Just trying to look at the league table there. Let's find the league table. Not that the league table has anything to do with it. Oh, well, no. Barnoldswick Town, yeah, they're not doing too bad. Listen, Barnoldswick and...
17th.
Yeah, but in terms of the current form, they're up into 5th place in the Premier Division, and AFC Blackpool, as we alluded to before, are second in the North West Counties Division 1 North. So I could see this being a really tight game, probably decided by penalties. And I'm going to go for Barnoldswick.
Yeah, I'm also going to go for Barnoldswick. I think form will only carry you so far in the cup competitions, unfortunately, and I think there are teams who are going to want to make a really good run of it. I think AFC Blackpool did reasonably well in the cup competitions last season. This season, however, I think they're going to want to focus matters a bit more domestically speaking. So I am going to say Barnoldswick, and I do think it'll be in 90 minutes.
And the big game, Atherton Allar versus Bearscough.
That's a brilliant game. If you're stuck at a loose end because your team is not in action this weekend, go down to Crilly Park and have a look at this one, because this is going to be an absolute belter. Do
you see that being a tight one, or?
Yeah, I do. Both teams have made really strong starts to their domestic season. As we know and as we've talked about, Bearscough have tripped up hither and thither, but on the whole, they're still doing well.
I'm going for Atherton Allar on this one.
Yeah, I mean, we tend to back Atherton Allar on these occasions here, and in all honesty, the form table is almost entirely the same. Yeah. 4 wins from the last 6, 2 losses. Bearscough have conceded more than they've scored, whereas Atherton Allar's goal difference is a bit healthier. So I also am going to say Atherton Allar there.
Yeah, this is going to be a really tight game one way or another. Camel Aird versus Wolverhampton Casuals. I'm going for Camel Aird.
So am I.
City of Liverpool versus Charnock. I'm going to go for City of Liverpool.
I'm going to go for Charnock. I think Charnock, they did some serious bits against Ramy and probably could have taken a draw at that game, actually. Nathan Nikias missed a penalty in about the hour mark, which, considering what followed, could have easily secured them a 3-3 draw. So Richard got plenty behind them, although they probably don't show as much as they should. Cone versus Exton Villa.
Yeah, I'm going for I'm going for Exton Villa.
So am I.
Yeah. Eccleshall versus Telford Town.
Yeah, I mean, this was a game that was played in the domestic competition on Saturday, and Eccleshall won.
I don't see it being the same way this time.
Fine, I'll go with it there.
I think they'll learn from the mistakes that they made on Saturday and come up with a win. Yes. FC St Helens versus MSB Walton. I think that's going to be a tighter one
than you'd have credit for, but I still think FC St Helens are going to win that one.
Yeah, I'll go with it. Foley Mere versus Sandbach United. I'm going for Sandbach.
It's a filed derby here.
Yeah.
It's Garstang host Thornton Cleveley's at the Riverside.
Does Garstang count as filed, does it?
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah. Well, it's all Blackpool, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm going for... Who are you going for?
Thornton Cleveley's.
I'm going for Garstang.
Fine.
Main Road versus Cheadletown. I think that's going to be a difficult game as well.
I do. Neither of the teams are having absolutely spectacular seasons. Or certainly, ones that would like. I mean, Cheadletown are third in the Cheadletown are third in the form table of the Premier League division. I just lost the one game with 5 wins.
Cheadletown are in the lower division. They're not. They're 12th. In the middle of the diddle, are they? Yeah, it's going to be a tight one, that. But I'm just going to go.
Main Road.
I'm just going to go for the home team. Main Road.
I'm going to go for the away team. Cheadletown.
New Mills versus Chadderton. Chadderton all day long.
I would think so too.
Padiham Nelson. This is a huge
bit of a local derby.
Pendle derby.
At the Ruby Civil Arena. It's a grass pitch. Both these teams play on grass, so there won't be any of that 3G funniness involved. Oh, God. I think it's just going to be Padiham, isn't it?
Yeah. Listen, it's a hard one to call, isn't it? Because Nelson are doing particularly well. Both they're in the lower division. Yeah, listen, I'm going to go for Padiham as well.
There you go.
Ramsbottom versus Prestwich Hayes. Difficult one to call this because Ramsbottom are doing really well, but Prestwich Hayes they're
doing bits.
It's a rich vein of form. So
they certainly have.
But I'm still going to go for Ramsbottom.
So am I.
Runcorn Town versus Allscott Heath.
Yes, Runcorn Town.
West Didsbury versus Abbey Hay.
Manchester Derby.
I'm going for West Didsbury.
So am I.
And that concludes the Macron Cup on Saturday. So we move on to the Premier Division on Saturday. Litherland Remyca versus FC Isle of Man.
Yep, 2 teams on a bit of a rebuild after a very, very difficult start to the domestic season. Obviously, Paul Jones left FC Isle of Man about 3 weeks ago, maybe even less than that. Whereas Litherland Remyca, it'll be Jamie Rainford's first home game in charge at the Litherland Sports Park. So, who's your money on?
I'm going for Litherland.
So am I.
Definitely going for them. Yeah.
Yes.
Hope they do really, really well there. Listen, albeit I've got a soft spot for the Isle of Man. And I was going to mention the Isle of Man because I would hate to see them get relegated from the Premier Division. I think it's been a breath of fresh air having them in the Northwest Counties.
Okay.
And I think for anybody in that division, we certainly missed it when we got relegated. But the trip to the Isle of Man was
staggering.
It was great. It was just having a sort of international match, and we had a long weekend and we had a really good break there, and it was fantastic. The result wasn't, but that was a minor setback.
Oh,
but listen, I hope if they can continue to stay in business in the Northwest Counties North Division, presuming that they get put in that division. Then that's for the betterment of the clubs in that division. And then that said, if we can miraculously find a way of getting out of the Liverpool County Premier, then we could be making trips to the Isle of Man next season. But unfortunately, I'm still going for Remy and looking out for Jamie, and I hope he gets off to a flying start at home. Longridge Town versus South Liverpool.
I am minded to say Longridge. A good performance against flipping heck. Who did Longridge play midweek? Was it Earlham? No, it was Padiham. They played Padiham in the midweek. And a fine performance really, and I think that'll prove handy against South Liverpool. The 7 wins and 6 losses. South Liverpool, the inconsistent.
They beat Alaman, didn't they, 3-1?
They did. Longridge Town in 15th, South Liverpool 11th, a bit tighter than what we would normally call.
Still over the home team, Longridge?
Longridge for me.
Yeah. Now, big game for Richie Brodie. Pilks versus Glossop North End. I'm going in favour of... I think there's a little bit less pressure going to Pilks than there is at playing at home at the moment, because as much as I assume the supporters coming off and clapping the players off during defeat, I would imagine they're still fairly vocal in terms of disappointment as well. So I think they'll be showing equal levels of disappointment. It might be just a little bit of a relief. I certainly think it will be for Richard to be playing at Pilks.
I think you're probably right. Yeah, he'll have to do it without Sutcliffe. Fortunately, he'll be suspended for that game, won't he? But the positive reaction from his players against a really well stocked Stockport Town team, gives them more credit. Than previously thought, and against a Pilks team who started out flying, but have have dropped off the pace a little bit. They're in 13th.
Ethan should still be available for that, because isn't it a week?
Oh, is it?
Isn't it a full week? I don't know.
Oh, heck, maybe.
Not too sure.
Let's hope so. For Brodie's sake and for Glossop's North End. Let's hope. I think it's going to be a draw, and I would really like Glossop to come away with more than that, but I'm saying a draw for now.
Yep, fair enough. Like I say, Glossop North End for me. Wythenshawe versus Stockport Town.
Yeah, that's going to be a home win for me. I think Stockport were quite lucky to get one against Glossop North End. They had to do it against 10 men. I don't think there'll be any such any such realism against Wythenshawe, and I'm seeing the home side take the points there.
Listen, fair enough. We'll move on to the First Division North, and Ashton Athletic versus Bacup Borough, both at the wrong end of the table, but still think Bacup will manage to...
Well, Bacup had a really good result in the middle of the week. They beat Fulwood Amateurs by 5-2, and I expect a bit more of a panache result against Ashton Athletic team who can't really seem to buy a win at this point in time, not even a draw. And I'm expecting the same. I think Brent Peters is going to go back with a win there. So, away win for me.
Ashton Town versus Steeton. Steeton at the wrong end of the table.
Yeah, having made a really good start, whereas Ashton Town can't really seem to buy any consistency at this point in time. It also means that the town of Ashton is going to be really, really busy on that day. Ashton and Macclesfield, with both teams in action at home.
They're both divided by the M6.
They're divided by the A6, quite honestly, by Bolton Road. So Ashton Town just playing off of Bolton Road out towards God, what's the name of the bloody area? Golborne. Whereas Ashton Athletic are down the other end
in Ashton.
Of Ashton in Macclesfield.
So if you're travelling south, you come off and you turn left to go to Ashton. If you go into Ashton Athletic, you turn right
and go north up towards St Helens area,
the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's about right.
So I'm going for Ashton Town anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to say a draw, because I just don't think Ashton Town have any kind of decent consistency, although with the plays that they have, they really should.
I've noticed Conor Reddy, Chris and George Lomax don't seem to be playing at the moment.
That's interesting. Yeah. I know that Ashton Town have got a couple of strikers in there. Obviously, Mikey Howard is now hitting a bit of a rich reign of form, and Daniel Squires, who they signed from Garstang in the off-season, has finally started to find the back of the net. And both of those players scored in their midweek win over... who was it that they played now? I ain't got a clue. Nonetheless, they both scored. So if there's any opportunity for the Lomax boys or Connor to kind of come down and wear the blue for us, then, just
you get a little bit of a sort of a run out.
A bit of a cheat code, yeah. Anyway, draw for me at the Bartons Group Stadium. Daisy Hill versus Darwin. For me, that's an away win. I just think Darwin have now started to hit their stride, and I think that they're going to continue that.
I definitely think at the Ginger Angry Stadium, the Ginge Power Stadium, keep getting that one mixed up. But, I think it'd be too much for them at this moment in time. He's still, Nicky Hunt, I think we mentioned it before, still in the midst of a rebuild, and he's really, really got his work cut out there. It'd be interesting to see whether more funds are getting released to bring in better quality players.
Most certainly.
But it's a tough job for them at the moment.
Considering how many players actually left as well after Lee Hill departed, they're on a bit of a rebuild at the minute, and rebuilds, as we know, take time. So maybe it's to be expected that Daisy Hill are going to wobble and struggle for the first handful of games of Nicky Hunt's reign. Now then, Butcher's Arms.
Droylsden versus Holker Old Boys. Now this is a huge match in many ways. We always think Holker a big, tough and ready team, whereas Droylsden not particularly a big team. I don't know. They're sort of big at the back, but I don't know, a little bit less.
For me, Droylsden's primary source of attacking is Nelson Van, and Nelson Van is on an amazing run of form at the minute. I think he's bagged about 12 goals this season already. Holker Old Boys, we know, are poor on the road. Even on a Saturday kickoff at the Butcher's Arms, I'm not sure how well this is going to go for them. It's a home win for me.
Yeah, listen, you're going home win for Droylsden. I'm going for Holker because I just think they're a little bit physically more. I think Droylsden struggle against the more physical teams.
You might be right. That could be how Thornton Cleveland's managed to secure a draw against them. Anyway, and then the final fixture of the First Division North sees Squires Gate take on Forward Amateurs at the Skiddle Community Stadium. For me, I know that they had a very disappointing result away at Bacup Borough in the midweek, but overall, Forward Amateurs are doing an awful lot better than we give them credit for, and I think we probably don't talk about them quite as much for how well they are doing. So they're sitting in 7th place in the division with 3 wins, 3 draws and 2 losses. Have got a bit of a leaky defence, but they are scoring goals. I think there's only the top 2 teams, Droylsden and Maghull, that have scored more than their 20 goals this season, so maybe there's something to be said for that.
I think for Fulwood.
I am.
I'll follow you on that one.
Very well.
Moving to the First Division South, Cheadle Heath Nomads versus Shawbury United. Struggling Cheadle, the bottom 3 in the table. Shawbury doing a lot better than they did last season.
They certainly are.
I'm going for Shawbury.
Yeah, I'm going to follow you on that one and say Shawbury as well.
Right, okay.
Hormond, who, despite not being bottom of the table, are actually winless throughout the entire season, against Barnton sitting in 4th.
Yeah, I'm going for Barnton.
Yeah, writing's on the wall a little bit. Now, this game, very interesting. We like Dan Dawson. Dan Dawson likes us. Dan Dawson had a really good result against Stafford Town with a 3-3 draw for his Market Drayton Town.
But has a great deal of confidence.
Has a bit more work to do, but he will know that. Alsager Town, 13th in the division, possibly a team where, if you're going to pick a bit of a run of form, Stafford Town, amazing team to do it against. Alsager Town, probably a more realistic prospect for carrying it on. I want to say a home win.
Yeah, me too.
Let's go Dan Dawson.
Yeah, Stafford Town versus Asheville. Stafford are not as consistent as they were at this stage last season, so I can't really make my mind up about them. But Asheville, they played a game less, but they're 9 points behind. So I still think Stafford at home are going to do the business.
Asheville's manager has just departed as well, so they are in the midst of a bit of it. Yeah, another manager changeover as well. So
we do apologise when we can't cover all the news, but we're
limited to time.
Yeah. Listen, time, meaning that it costs me more money to put this show on if I don't trim it a little bit. You know what I mean? We've got another 3 shows this month, so yeah, I'm going for Stafford Town.
Yes.
You going as well?
I also am going for Stafford
Right, okay.
Town.
We've got another page of fixtures.
Right.
Here.
Stockport Georgians versus Wolverhampton Sporting Community. It's a home win for me.
Yeah, that's the same for me. Okay. Monday 13th, Cheshire Scenic Cup first round. Stockport Town versus Hyde United. I'm going for Hyde United.
So am I.
So Tuesday, the 14th of October, the North West Counties Premier League, Atherton LR versus Wythenshawe. It'll be a difficult game, but I'm going for Atherton. I'm
going to say a draw.
I thought you might. Barnoldswick Town versus Ramsbottom United. That's got to be Ramsbottom.
Yeah, I'd say Rammy too.
Charnock Richard versus West Didsbury. I'm going for West Didsbury.
Great fixture this one, because Charnock Richard absolutely smash it when it comes to entertainment, but just absolutely not when it comes to consistency. West Didsbury and Chorlton seem to finally be finding their feet here, up to third. In the division, just chasing on the tails of Rammy and Padiham. I will say an away win, but I think that'll be a great game to watch.
Yeah, brilliant. St Helens, FC St Helens versus Earlham. I've got to say I can't see FC St Helens winning this, so I'm going for Earlham.
No offence, FC St Helens still sitting in
great
ninth.
Team,
still sitting in ninth. Just Earlham are in fourth. Not a draw at all. 9 wins, 4 losses. Just their away form can be a bit patchy, but I still expect them to win here.
Yeah, listen, FC St Helens, great chairman, great manager, great sporting director.
We like Mark Hayes.
Mark Hayes, we love him. But unfortunately, I'm going for Earlham. You're going.
Never actually met him.
You've actually met him.
I've never actually met Mark Hayes.
All right, he's sat in your place on 2 occasions, been on the show twice.
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh, I know he was when he interviewed Pascal.
Yeah, there was a few of us here. We were on the big long table. Remember the big long table?
I remember that big long table.
We had 4 mics out. You know what I mean? It was chaos because you couldn't see each other.
No, I think Gordon was there as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, James was supposed to be recording it,
and
for some unknown reason the battery went flat. So it was our first attempt at having a sort of video of it. But to be fair, the way it was set up at the time, there was too much. It was too busy.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been good anyway.
Yeah.
So,
but Mark Hayes has done this twice.
Yeah.
I need to meet that guy. Anyway, Prestwich Hayes versus Pilks.
No, you missed Padiham versus AFC Liverpool.
Yes, I have. Padiham to win.
Well, Padiham to win. We go for
Prestwich Hayes versus Pilks.
Yeah, I go for Prestwich Hayes.
I'm going to go for a draw because they're right next to each other in the table. Form is very little difference between them. There's just 3 points on the domestic form. So, draw.
Yeah, Squiresgate versus Holker. Old Boys in the First Division North on Tuesday. I'm going for Holker.
I'm going to go for a draw on that one. Again, the away travelling is an issue for Holker. And on a Tuesday night down to windy old Fylde Coast. Draw.
First Division South, Alsager Town versus Runcorn Town. I'm going for Runcorn.
See that going one way.
Yeah. Asheville versus Cheadle Heath. Nomads, Asheville for me.
Yeah, Nomads in 17th, Asheville are in 12th. Draw.
You're going for a draw.
I am.
Yeah, I'm not surprised there, really.
And then
the Cheshire Senior First Cup. First round. Cup first round. 1874 Northwich versus Cheadle. I'm going for
1874.
1874. Then we move on to the Liverpool Senior Cup preliminary round. Bearscough versus Ashton Town. That's a really interesting fixture.
Yeah.
Depends on whether they put 2...
Depends which Ashton Town turn up, to be honest.
Yeah,
bit Jekyll and Hyde.
And whether they put 2 full-strength teams out. Still going for Bearscough, though.
Yeah, me too. Are we involved in the Liverpool Senior Cup?
No, we're in the Liverpool County FA Cup, aren't we?
Yeah, which we're...
Combination...
that's this weekend, isn't it?
This weekend, yeah.
Well, all that's to come.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going for Bearscough too.
Yeah, McGull versus Warrington Rowlands. I'm going for Warrington Rowlands here.
Yeah.
Simple fact that they managed to batter us 10-1.
I'm praying to God that McGull don't concede 10. Yeah. Or maybe I do, because then it makes our defeat seem a bit more gentle.
I don't even... Listen, we built up such a good friendship with Joey
We have not. No offence, Joey.
Yeah, no, I think they'll be beaten, but I don't think it'll be as convincing. I don't think McGull have got a good setup there.
They certainly do.
Yeah, so moving on to Wednesday, we're going to cover these just in case we end up recording on the Thursday, but quickly, Premier Division in the North West Counties, Remy versus Chadderton. Unfortunately, I think that's a bit too soon for
I think so.
Jamie Rainford, so I think, if he gets a win at the weekend, then, if he gets a half decent sort of result, low score line against Chadderton, he'd be doing well.
Yeah, I think I still think Chadderton are going to win this one, but like you say, 1-0, 2-0, that's fine. I think Jamie will feel he has got enough to go on there. And then South Liverpool versus Exton Villa. South Liverpool.
Oh, you go. Surprising there. So moving on to First Division 1 North, and rounding it up is Nelson versus Fulwood Amateurs.
At the Daisy Arena, Little Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, what a name that is.
Nelson
you go for Nelson, are you? And Bacup Borough versus Cole.
Oh, the East Lancs derby at the Brian Boys Westview Stadium.
I'm going for Bacup.
Me too.
Right. So that concludes all the fixtures in the Northwest Counties.
And in case you were wondering, Frank's forgotten his homework, so I take the win by default. Again, it's now 5-0.
Well, just so busy. But listen, it's nice to give our opinion, because occasionally people do turn around and say to me, haha, you predicted we were going to lose when we won.
Alright.
Yeah, so occasionally I do get the odd message, all in good humour, of course.
Yes, I suppose so. I've not actually had that, so it proves that my outreach is terrible. Nobody's told me you were wrong. Well, not even Dan Dawson.
You've got to consider that for me, this network I've built up is probably in excess of 30 years. You've just started out on your journey.
I have been here about 30 minutes, so
but in terms of that, you probably progressed far quicker than I did at my stage, so you've done really, really well, so don't worry about that. You'll get there eventually. So listen, we talk about Skem. Not much to sort of continue really, because we went for our brunch last weekend knowing that the game had been called off.
So it was a bit more of an easier vibe to the game, to the morning really. Yeah. We sat in Wetherspoons and we had our
big
cooked breakfast or our scrambled eggs or whatever it was that we were eating, and we could do it in the knowledge that although Andy Barlow wasn't going to be there, the game wasn't actually happening anyway, so it's fine. He's only
misses one game less,
which is and
incidentally, just to mention, he's on holiday. He won't be back for the Saturday game. This was booked before
he came on board.
Before he came back on board. So just let people know that, because there was a fair bit of stick Tommy took last season when he was when he had a 3-match ban, was it?
It was.
He decided to take a holiday at the same time, and people didn't like that for some reason. But hey ho, you have to understand non-league to know how much it
takes out of you. Huh?
Yeah, it takes over you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like a full-time job, whilst not quite being a full-time job.
Yeah. So all the fixtures remain the same, because no games got played in the Liverpool County Premier Cup or League last week, as far as I'm aware.
That's correct, and the way it works at the Liverpool County Premier is that the Cup games take precedence over the League games, so we have had to reschedule our game against River Football Club, who we were due to play this weekend, and we'll instead be playing FC Kirkby.
Yeah. Kirby or Kirkby, you said there.
I think it's Kirkby, isn't it?
No, it's Kirby.
Is it Kirby?
Yeah, Kirby.
Great.
Yeah, the other K is a silent K.
Is it?
Unlike F.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So it's spelled Kirkby, but pronounced Kirby.
Yeah.
You lot are weird.
You've led a sheltered life.
No, I just haven't been to Merseyside, where you're all
You're spending a lot of time there now.
I'm going to have to. Well, yeah, that's because you decided to move the club to Marine.
Yeah.
Could have stayed in Wigan.
My biggest critic. Well, we were in Wigan, where we were in Burscough, West Lancashire.
Yeah, and if we'd moved to Wigan, we'd still be in the West Lancashire League anyway.
Yeah, arguably. But listen,
anyway,
just a few things to mention. One, that tonight we have our race night at the Newborough Sports Club. Tickets are still available. If you can't get to the do itself, then by all means enter some of the competitions online that you can do. That helps contribute towards our floating funds. Yeah, our floating funds. And bear in mind that whatever you enter, there is a prize as well. So there is a gain at the end of it. It's we're not just taking your money and
you are winning something.
Yeah, and listen, it costs an awful lot of money to put these functions on.
It does.
Rowena and I are footing the bill to a large degree as well. There's a lot of donations go into this as well. So we're very, very fortunate that the outlay is exactly zilch. So every penny that we pay, every penny that we get is for the club.
It's a profit, isn't it?
It's a profit. We're hoping to make in excess of £1,000. But listen, the other thing, of course, is that on Monday night at the Busy Bee, 7 o'clock, I think it is, isn't it? 7 o'clock kickoff. We've got a Meet the Club opportunity where you can come along and speak to anyone involved with the football club, whether it be management, directors, chairman, air your views.
Or your stupid press officers. I'm also going to be there
too. Well, your press officer as well can answer. AJ, let's just call him AJ because listen, he's better known as AJ from the Speaking Frankly football show than he is as the press officer.
Press officer, but I'm sort of doing a few different roles at the minute, and I think I'm just involved with the club.
That's a sad line.
I don't really have a job role, but anyway, the point is, we're all going to be there. All the representatives of the club, from the management, the board, and the committee, are all going to be at the Busy Bee on Monday night at 7 o'clock. And that's an open forum for fans of the club, non-fans of the club, critics of the club, or even strangers to the club. Whoever you are, just come on down. We encourage you to come on down. You don't have to pay an entry fee. You can sit and have a pint and just chat to us. Ask you questions. If you've got any concerns, we are more than happy to kind of steer you in our direction of thinking, and kind of let you see where our thought process was of a decision that you might disagree with, or a question that you might have about something that we've done. It's an opportunity for fans who feel a bit disenfranchised with how the club is performing at the minute to come back in and maybe just reconnect with the club. And what we want to do is build bridges with fans, because we understand that, since the days of the Northern Premier League, fans have walked away for one reason or another. They've lost interest. They don't like how we're being run, etc. So come on down and maybe we can assuage you into coming back and supporting us this season. Yeah,
most definitely. And we certainly don't want to turn it into a slanging match.
No, that's not what this is for.
Yeah, that's not the purpose of this meeting. The purpose of this meeting is maybe to be a little bit, when we talk about clarity, we do say that there's only a certain amount of things that we can say publicly on a sort of public forum, but we can be probably a little bit more open on a face-to-face basis. Yeah. And we've already mentioned that there's a lot of positive things happening off the field, and it's just unfortunate really that things on the field are not coming together either. But we feel as though we're in a better position now to move the club forward than we've ever done. So come along and ask those questions, and we try and answer as many questions as we possibly can. So we look forward to seeing you tonight and on Monday night if you can make it. And certainly, listen, if you can make it to the game at Kirby, the Eddie.
Oh God!
The Eddie.
It's not Eddie Murphy. Just list the Eddies. Until we get to the right.
Well, the Memorial Fields, the Eddie blank Memorial Fields. But listen, Eddie. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff anyway. It's a bit early in the day, but if you can get down to that, you'd be more than welcome to watch that. There's no admission fee there at all.
Nah.
Just make sure that you're wrapped up warm if it's going to be cold, and make sure that you've got a rainproof jacket in case it rains. You're still not. You're not quick enough here.
No, shut up! Not quick enough.
Well, listen, I'm sure they'll fit. Eddie McCardle.
Eddie McCardle sounds a bit correct.
Eddie McCook.
What? What are you saying?
But anyway, listen, whilst you're looking for that, I'll open what...
Just talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about what I've learned so far in the last week. Well, the first thing, of course, is because I think we opened the show and we talked about my facial hair, and I've just realised...
Eddie McCardle Memorial Playing Field.
I got there before you.
Shut up!
Yeah, so if you can get down there on Saturday, it's a 1 o'clock kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cup game. Listen, should mention the fact that there might be one or two debutants on the day, including Craig Heskey, possibly centre forward, who's just signed for us. So we're looking forward to seeing him.
Yes, he is relative to Emile.
Yeah, who? Relative to
Emile.
Emile? Oh, right, I thought you said Emile.
No! He's related to Emile Heskey, isn't he?
He's the cousin of.
There we go.
Yeah. So, listen, we're looking forward to Saturday, and we're looking forward to your support as well. I mean, hopefully in a cup game we can not so much relax a little bit, but it is tough and stressful playing in the league at the moment. When you've had five defeats, you've got to find a way of winning, and hopefully we can start doing that on Saturday. But the more support we get, the merrier. Yeah.
So with Andy on his hollabobs, it's time for Coach Barney to step in and be manager for the day. So we've already used the hashtags Barney's Barmy Army. That will be in force on Friday and Saturday, and we hope very much you'll come down and be part of Barney's Barmy Army at the Eddie McCardle Playing Field. We understand that it's we've not had the best start to the season, but we really, really do believe that the positives are just around the corner.
Yeah, I think we've said that in terms of fitness and technicality, that the players are technically gifted. I think probably where they fall short is a little bit of experience.
Yeah.
A little concentration, maybe naivety, in terms of, we talked about it last week, didn't we, that you sometimes you don't get those 50-50 decisions from the referee if you're not more vocal. And I think the small margins, and hopefully that will change over the next few weeks as the management team take a sort of stranglehold on the club and take it forward. But listen, as I was saying before, what have I learned so far this week? Well, not that it's much use to anyone, but actually now that I've got a little bit of facial hair and a bit of hair on my head, one, I can prove that I'm not completely bald, but two, what I'd say to you is that what really annoys me about having facial hair is that it itches. I don't know whether you have the same problem, do you?
Yeah.
Do you use beard oils?
No, just shampoo and moisturiser.
Now, if I'm going to keep this, and it's very doubtful it'll last another week, but if it's likely to, what I would say in my parting shot is, if anybody who's got a little bit of facial hair, can explain to me what's the best thing to do to avoid itching, then pop it on a postcard, send it to me. At...
help, I'm follically capable now. Dalton, Skelmersdale.
Yeah. That's the one. So, what have you learned? I'm a nutter.
I've learned that you need beard oil, apparently. Yeah. Facial scrub.
Facial scrub.
Facial scrub works. Bit of warm water, moisturiser. You'll be fine.
Spot on. And what do you use for your hair? We're going off on a tangent here. Yeah. What do you use for your hair? Anything? Sometimes when I've seen it in full flow, like it's like you should be on an advert. Listen, you could certainly be a hair model. Have you thought of doing that?
No, I haven't.
No.
I could do.
You can make a living out of that, Pass some of that money on to Skem as well. You could be the face of Skelmersdale United.
Could be the hair of Skelmersdale United.
Yeah, you certainly could. So listen, what have you learned so far?
Facial scrub and moisturiser. For me,
I'll put you on the spot now. You're completely off the tangent.
Yeah, which is lovely. It's unusual to hear what I've learned this week. God, pyrotechnics are bad, except in open spaces and under adult supervision, and not at football teams.
Yeah.
Don't do anything for any reason at all, ever, anything that's going to derail your team, especially when they're winning. Okay?
Totally agree with you there. And I probably should have little backtrack there on what I've learned this week, because after the interview with Jamie Rainford, it made me think. When I was sort of doing my research a little bit, I still think that the mental health and psychology of footballers and managers is really, really underestimated at our level. But it doesn't take away from the fact that, even if, he has had a flawed sort of non-league history, he's had a history that, like you said before, that most people would kill for, really, wouldn't it? And he must have made an awful lot of friends as well.
He must have made an awful lot of friends, awful lot of memories, awful lot of things that he can look back on and smile. And I think he'll look back on this kind of glass of non-league football as being about 80-90% full and 10% empty. And that 10% won't matter in the grand scheme of it. And I think he's not the first one who says that being a father changes your perspective on these things completely. And I think as he's gotten older and a bit smarter and a bit wiser, and I know he'll say that he can't change who he is and that he's, still wears his heart on his sleeve, but trust me, Jamie, you probably have grown up. I think he'll look back as, being a father and a man of more mature years and say, do you know what, I had a brilliant time.
And I think physiology, age, changes perspective as well, doesn't it? Yeah. So listen, good luck to him, as we said before. Listen, I'm going to leave the final words to AJ.
You've been listening to the Speaking Frankly Football Show with me, AJ Vergette, and my co-host, Mr. Frank Hughes. This podcast is available on most streaming services wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify and Amazon Music. Please feel free to rate and review, as we do thrive off hearing your words and feedback. Please also subscribe so that you can find out firsthand when a new episode of the show has been released. We're also available on social media under the banner term Speaking Frankly Football Show, most prevalently on Facebook and X. And so until next week, from me, AJ, and him, Frank, we will see you all soon. Until then, bye-bye for now.